Hello again, and welcome to episode 5 of the Matt Black podcast. I've got a very special guest with me this evening. Oh yes, special to me is Mr. Jon Hardcastle. How are you doing?
I'm great, Matt. How are you, mate?
I'm very, very well, yes. I'm
not bad for a Monday.
Yeah, it's considering it's leading up to Christmas and it's stressful times for most people, but we're all hanging in there. How are you finding it?
I'm all right. I've been out with Leslie today to Murder Hell, and it were absolutely murder, like 11 o'clock in the morning, just a nightmare.
Yeah, so
in and out of there in an hour, done.
Yeah. People listening that are not from Yorkshire, Murder Hell is what we call Sheffield's Meadow Hall, which is a big indoor retail building, and it's awful because people just walk really slowly and then don't look where they're going and then just stop in front of you.
It's so frustrating. It's just annoying. But yeah, it were pretty painless, to be fair.
Yeah.
Leslie had a list. I will not go shopping unless we got a list and we know what we're going for. But she got a list and we went straight for what we got, straight to the shops that we wanted and out. So I'm a happy man, yeah.
Well, you're lucky there, aren't you, then? Because some people... I mean, I'm lucky with Libby, really, because she's the same. She's very much get straight to where you need to go. There's no wasting time browsing. No. We power walk to where we need to be, buy it, and we're gone.
Yeah.
And we tend to manage to squeeze some food in there as well.
So, yeah, all good, mate, all good.
Oh, so you're all fully kitted out, prepped for Christmas then?
A few things to come from Amazon, as everybody is, I guess. And, yeah, I think we're good to go.
Good stuff.
Did the Christmas tree last night. Got one more to do, actually, another one to do.
Last night? God, Libby did it in, I think it was the third week of November. She said to me, she said, "Oh, I'm just gonna go to range and get a couple of Christmas bits." This were middle of November, and then these little Santas and
the
things
range
started.
Second only to B&M.
Yeah, there's all these little Santas and random things started arriving, and instead of just putting them away for Christmas, they just started appearing on the side. So she just eased it in, and before I knew it, attic were open, everything were down. But the good thing is because she's very particular and fast, I don't really have to be involved. So as long as I'm doing something that's reasonably productive, she'll just do it. And I've only got to be the guy that just helps feed the lights to the tree as she arranges. I don't have to do anything else, and that's great. Other than
lightweight, get off easy, man.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Very, very lucky. Right, so there'll be some people that are kind of wondering how we know each other and what it is that what we've done together. I think we first
met when I was touring with Bonafide, I think, and it was Yardbirds, and I think FAHRAN were playing a support and provide a backline, so I think that's how we met originally.
Yeah.
Barnsley boy, didn't realise, but yeah, I think that's how we first met.
Yeah, that's because I didn't really know what we were kind of agreeing to. We'd agreed through the venue, said, "Oh, can you provide a backline?" And they said, "Can you can you provide this backline so that these guys can come over from where did they come from?"
The Swedish, yeah.
Swedish, yeah. And I checked them out online. I'm like, got AC/DC vibes.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. Why not? So we turned up and then
and a great venue.
Oh yeah. Have you seen it recently as well?
Yeah, we did a show there about 5 weeks back, I think it were beginning of.
Oh yeah, well the Tyketto one.
No, it were an Upstaged one. It were first time we took Rockmantic to Yardbirds.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
So yeah, Robbo asked us to bring it.
I saw that you'd moved it to there. Is that like a permanent thing, or are you taking it like as a bit of a tour? No, it's
just like on the road kind of thing. We've tried Blackpool, that kind of worked at
McIntyre style.
At Waterloo, but its home is really Brickyards at Carlisle.
Another great venue.
Where Ross started it. I think he played there as well, hasn't he? With Ross.
Yeah, it's all a bit incestuous, isn't it? Everybody seems to know
everybody knows everybody, yeah, kind of.
But yeah, when I first met you, I thought, someone else from Barnsley who also likes rock music and beer. Let's keep in touch.
I've been known to like a beer or two, yeah.
Yeah, the odd IPA.
Yeah.
I think we followed up with a bit of a day session in the one weekend that it was sunny. It may have been midweek, but it was
very hot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We went around Elsker, didn't we?
Yeah, I got burnt.
Yeah.
Didn't wear a hat.
Didn't get
schoolboy error.
Didn't get the message about being chucking you in sun. I can remember sitting opposite you and you were just sweating.
Oh yeah. I love it though. I do. I would just happily sit in it most of the day. I need to get up and move about every now and then. That's why I'm a nightmare on holidays. Libby will lay for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I'm after a bit. I'm like, I need to go and explore.
Yeah,
I still want to be in the
do that.
sun, but
Yeah.
I need to check things out.
I'll be back in an hour.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go
Where you going?
for a wander. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just gonna look at the poolside menu for a minute or so.
Yeah.
Just got to keep moving. But yeah, so when I first met you, then you were more kind of tour managing at that time, but you've basically been a musician for a number of years before that, though, haven't you?
I'd been in a band called Silverjet since early 2000s. Really, we rehearsed for I don't know, probably almost 4 years before we even had a gig. We were the tightest band in the world ever without a singer. we tried and we had, we had so many people come. It's like, we're a bit like Phoenix Nights kind of auditions. Like, there was just nobody ever worked. We had one guy, and I don't know if we nicknamed him Jeff Beebe or his name were Jeff Beebe. I can't remember. Dave or Andy will probably remember, but yeah. He kind of like, wow, he looks cool. And he were all right. He were right for a bit, and then he didn't work out. And then we had this really vivid red-haired guy, right, really long red hair. And this guy, man, he got some pipes on him. Like, he was louder than us in rehearsal room. He just didn't need miking up at all. He was just, wah! Well, like, now that's not going to work. And
that
then
sounds
we got
like
the
me after a few
usual
pints.
kind of karaoke guys. It's like, oh man, when are we going to ever find a vocalist? So I kind of thought, I think Dave used to kind of, because he used to write the songs, so he used to write the melody and write the lyrics. The kind of songs were there, they were kind of there-ish. And he'd kind of half-heartedly sing them in rehearsal, kind of making it work. And I think I went to him one night. I said, we either need to do some jam nights or something so we can get out there and advertise that we need a vocalist kind of thing and show people what we've got. Or you need to take some vocal lessons and you need to sing. We've been here 4 years. I'm out of here, man. I need to go. I mean, we need to get out and play. So eventually he did take up singing lessons.
Yeah.
And it worked, and we just hit ground running. I think it was 2004. I think it were first show, something like that. Boardwalk, actually.
Yeah.
Iconic.
I loved that venue.
Sheffield venue. And then next day we went to Junction 7, Nottingham. We supported a guy called, Canadian guy, Crash Kelly, who's since gone on to do big things. He's a session musician, but we supported him. That was fun. So yeah, straight in at deep end. A month later, I think we were supporting Mike Tramp on his solo band tour, and that just worked. Just like a rock and roll band, proper like 70s influenced, Black Crowes-y, Faces-y, Choir Boys-esque. Dogs Demo, they were as kind of...
Yeah, I did see you kind of around on the circuit, but I never put two and two together.
Yeah.
That it was the same person.
We were Sheffield stalwarts, to be fair. We were the call-up band for Sheffield supports anytime because they knew that we'd bring people. So yeah, it was easy for us to get like local supports, which we did quite a few. We did like Choir Boys, we did Dogs D'Amour, we did Buck Cherry. Well, good times. We did a lot of that kind of ilk. But being a tenacious twat, I then used to push. Anybody that I made contact with, I would push, and we managed to support Choir Boys on a couple of dates, and not just in Sheffield, and same with Dogs, and just progressed it.
Yeah.
Just to quote a New Generation Stars song, do it because we can.
Yeah.
Just...
It's the way to do it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You plant that seed and you start building those relationships up with those, whether it's the band themselves or their management.
As a silly little band from Sheffield, we did all right. I mean, I stuck with him till, I don't know, about 2012, which is when I started turning into tour management. And we did all right, we did that silly little thing, went to America, pissed off to America for a week on kind of holiday, but played 4 venues. We played Whiskey A Go Go, which is still one of my ultimate achievements with a band. It were a shit gig, but we played nonetheless. We played Whiskey a Go Go, and we got us lights up in the headliner thing, and then we did Cat Club, I think it were, on Sunset Strip, and then we drove down to Las Vegas to play a show at a bar called the Dive Bar, and it were a dive bar. But we got so well looked after. It were a guy called Brent Muscat that I think used to be in Faster Pussycat.
Yeah.
It was like a jam band, and the now bass player in Slasher's band, he was the vocalist. I can't remember his name, but he was the vocalist that night. And can you remember that guy that his wife cut his knob off with a knife and then put it in a carrier bag, drove off about a 3 mile way, and then threw it out it.
Heard about this, yeah.
And then he had his knob stitched back on. He became a porn star after that. And it was like a launch night for his. Would have been a DVD, I guess.
Did you just retrieve a bigger one that someone else had thrown?
He was just like some marketing genius. Sewed his cock back on. Let's make him a porn star. And so it were his opening night, and so there were lots of
this arm will do. Then we'll
lots of dancing girls that turned up like strippers for this opening night, and it was a good night. Like 24 hours in Vegas. Literally, next day went back to Hollywood. I think played a show in Hollywood somewhere in Hollywood Hills. Just had a week in LA. Basically, it was fun, and nipped down to Vegas.
Sounds pretty cool.
Did that, yeah.
How did that come about then?
Me and Dave went on a cruise that sort of, I guess, is a precursor to all these Monsters of Rock cruises that kind of happen now. There's tons of cruises, isn't there? Rock cruises, that kind of thing. And we went on one called Motley Cruise, which were put together, I think, by Vince Neil's management or whoever put it together. That's what they called it, Motley Cruise. And Vince Neil and his band played with, I think there were Rat, Slaughter, and another band, and then smaller bands. But we were only half a ship. So it only took up half a ship. So you get on ship and there's all these old ears playing cards on deck. Morning. What's going on here? It's not a whole ship like it were. And we snuck 200 CDs into his case, and after every show, kind of dished them out to all these Americans, and they were like asking how much. And we're like, no, they're free. Free? Well, they're just your best mate all of a sudden. Are you from England? We're from England, that's it. They were just your best mate. So this girl said, I'd love you to come across, but if you come across, you need to play LA. I'll sort it for you. And that's how it kind of started, that she put us in touch with this promoter in LA. I can't remember his name. Happening Harry, I think his name was, whoever he is, but he sorted it for us, and they were all pay to play. We finished up paying him, and he gave us a bunch of tickets to kind of sell. And if we made any money, then we finished up giving most of our tickets away to English kind of guys that were in Rainbow, or anybody that we met that were English were like, do you want a ticket, a free ticket? So we gave them away. One of the best stories is Indy. Indy was stood outside kind of just about an hour before showtime, and he were giving tickets out. And we just stood there, and he went, are you Ricky Warwick? And this guy turned around and went, yeah, I'm Ricky Warwick. He went, do you want a ticket? So this guy went, yeah, I'll have a ticket. Can my promoter have one too? I've got my promoter with me, yeah. So he gave them 2 tickets, and they came in to watch this band. Prior to leaving for LA, I'd put a bid in to a pay-to-play bid to support Hanoi Rocks' last ever UK tour, which were happening the next year. I think it were, I can't even remember when it were, April, May time. We played the show. Never thought any more about Ricky Warwick and this other guy. It were pretty dire. Sound engineer dicked us over. I mean, I don't know if you know the scenario in America, but basically every band changes backline. Every single band. So they all come with a drum kit, full backline. They play, they strip it, put another backline on. So we got a sound check. Every band did a sound check in the afternoon with all their own gear, put it on and off, on and off, on and off. And I guess this is time before digital desks were any good. So you can imagine it were a shit show. It was just, it were awful. It sounded dreadful. Couldn't hear anything. Let this crap show. Just wrote it off, and we just had fun while we were there. Got on plane, got home, and I literally, just as I got into airport, all my emails popped up, and I got an email from this guy saying, "The Hanoi Rocks shows are yours. I saw you in LA. I was with Ricky Warwick. The shows are yours." So that, you know, talk about coincidence. You know what I mean? How that come about, that we finished up then supporting Hanoi Rocks some, I don't know, 6-7 months later on their last ever UK tour. So, yeah.
You've just got to cover all bases, haven't you? It's like
You've got to be a tenacious twat. You just got to be relentless and just send. Not replied, send again.
Yeah.
He's not replied, send again.
See, when you were on about the CDs thing, it's weird because I was in a band in like 2009, original band, and we did that.
Yeah.
And we just bought a load of light scribe discs.
Yeah.
So you could burn them, then just you got them. Well, we managed to get hold of this machine that would do like 50 every couple of hours, and it'd burn all the discs with the album on, and then you just turn them all around as a big stack, and it'd then laser some kind of artwork over the top.
All right, yeah.
Very basic
DIY shit,
but it looked more professional than just writing it on, or when you could get those stickers that get stuck in the car stereo.
I tell you what we did. We got we got white label CDs, and then we created a stamp, like an ink stamp. We went and had one of these rubber stamps done that said Silverjet. I can't remember what it said. Fine purveyors of rock and roll, or something similar to that, in this kind of thing. And literally ink pad stamp. Yeah. So everyone were random, but it looked. We were like, that's cool. Yeah, we thought that were radical.
You should number them as well and make them unique. Yeah.
But it were a DIY kind of time then. It were.
Yeah.
Even in terms of production, you burnt your own CDs. Right, here's 25 for you, 25 for you. Go and burn that off.
We did. I think we ended up burning something like 1,500 CDs.
Yeah.
Obviously at the band's cost, and then like we said, we did what you guys did. It's like every time you played a show or any time you went anywhere, you just handed them all out throughout the audience in just those little clear plastic wallets. And we were just giving them to loads of people, but because of that, we ended up getting like loads of great supports from it. And then, like you say, you play one with them, and then because you weren't a nuisance and you were helpful and you were all polite, and you play an half decent show, those guys can come on the road with us. We ended up doing more things from that.
We were a brilliant band. We were an all right band. You know what I mean? I won't say we were amazing, but we did all right for a silly little band from Sheffield. We didn't do bad, We're good times. I enjoyed it. And then it just, I don't know, we just. By about 2012, it was just, for me, fizzling out. It were kind of like we're in different directions. I wanted to keep pushing us and doing more and more gigs. And I guess it was me and it, I don't know, usually in bands it's usually one or two people that are forging it ahead, and the others are turn up and play kind of thing, have a beer. So it's kind of like, I used to look after business side, Dave used to look after kind of creativity, and I think at some point we were going in different directions. I wanted to do more, he wanted to do less, and I guess it was just time, a place that we were both in at that time. I'd got a lot of time. I got my own business, so I got a lot of time. I could afford a lot of time and not be penalised. Didn't need to take holidays, that kind of thing. So it was easy for me to go, let's piss off to Europe. I've got tours lined up with a couple of American bands. I think it were LA Guns and Faster Pussycat. But when I put them to band, it were kind of like, how many days holiday do we need? How much are we getting paid? Can I bring my girlfriend? It's like, they're not the questions I want to hear, lads. I kind of like, let's do it. We'll figure out the rest after it, kind of thing. It's
difficult enough anyway, isn't it? Just like feeding the mouths of the band members, never mind taking loads of extras.
I think there's always a time in a band where it kind of, you get a little bit of success and it then becomes crunch point. And I think that's kind of perhaps where we got, and we were all of a bit of a different thinking. It was like, this isn't right. So I kind of decided to walk away rather than not be able to do what I wanted to do and just do it on a more diluted basis. That's kind of what I figured out. I can't do this. I don't do anything by halves. I'm either all in, all guns blazing, or not at all. Yeah. And that's what I wanted. I was like, we've got these dates, just do them. We don't know what will come from it. You just don't ever know what will come from anything until you've tried it. Once you've done it, then you can go, that was a load of shit. We shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Until you got there, you're kind of going to go, we should do this. It'd be fun if not else. So I kind of called it quits. But in that time, my business was doing well, and I bought 2 slitter buses. Kev, he got Dale on, not recently,
Yeah.
From Crimes of Passion. So Kev, who's the drummer, my business partner, we worked together. They were doing quite a lot. We were doing quite a lot. So we bought 1 splitter bus, a medium wheelbase splitter bus through business. And then his band were getting really busy, and we couldn't afford it. We couldn't like share the van kind of thing. They were going off quite a lot, so we got no van, so we bought another one. Because business were doing all right. So we got the vans, and I was still being tenacious. I think we did 2 before a TM Bonafide. I supported Bonafide on 2 or 3 tours with Silverjet using my vans. So off the back of that, when I quit, they were like, "You can't quit. You've been a tour support for ages, and you bring the vans," which is what we used to do. We used to use the vans as ammo and go, "We'll provide the backline, we'll provide the transport, give us the gig." So to a promoter, that's kind of like, "Oh, that's really easy, isn't it? Yeah, we'll give you the gig."
It makes it appealing, though, doesn't it? Especially if you get like someone who's fronted a rather large band from outside the UK wants to come and do a solo acoustic show.
Yeah.
They love a support that's going to drive them around to all the hotels as well.
That's
so they'll usually favour someone who can take them left, right, and centre.
And we did that to kind of play to bigger crowds. So I'd done it with Bonafide, and after that they asked me to be the TM. So I did it with them for, I don't know, I did about 7 or 8 stints in the UK. Some were, I think we did 14 shows in 14 days. One of them, quite, you know. And then some of them would just they'd fly in and do a 4-day weekend kind of thing, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I think I did about 7 or 8 stints with him. That were good fun. Yeah.
Have they been back over here since you stopped?
No, they're actually back next year. They're coming to Stonedead next year.
Are they?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't seen them since, I don't know. It would have been Christmas 2019. Would it have been before COVID? Was that before COVID?
Yeah.
Just before COVID. I went across to Stockholm. They used to do a residency at Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, 3 dates. And I went over there then to see them then for 3 days, just for crack. But yeah, they're coming back next year. But I've not actually been speaking to them for a while. I've not spoke to them, not for any other reason other than just haven't really. It's just... Yeah.
Do you think you'll catch them at the festival then? Or...
I'll be at Stonedead, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we tend to go to Stonedead every year. Us and Stonedead, I use Call the Wild and Stonedead kind of get along quite well as festival promoters, and they support us quite a lot. They post on their socials about our festival quite a lot, and they come to our festival as guests, and we go to their festival as guests. So it's kind of just reciprocate the good vibes kind of thing, and hospitality, and
it's nice to see, because it's not always like that amongst some organisers.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Especially if it's a similar area or a similar weekend as well. It can start getting a little bit. And it's like, we are all in this together, but then there's the business side of things that people are. It's
a fickle industry. It's an absolute fickle industry. I despise the business side of it. I much prefer the social side of it, and I tend to look after punters. I don't put my hands up and say I really don't like looking after bands. I just don't. I stay away. Like, backstage area is not my place to be. Definitely. Yeah. You asked for what on the rider? Fucking hell. No, you're not having that. No, that'd be like, I won't be able to keep my mouth shut, so I'm better off with customer at front at barrier, at front at stage, rather than at back at stage.
Yeah. So, obviously, we're going to talk about the festival that you're part of. So, you're working with Raz White on that one. How did that come about then? Because obviously I've known Raz for a number of years, and you've known Raz for a number of years, and obviously he was promoting various events. Did he technically start that before you jumped on board then, or?
So yeah, Raz has been knocking about industry and putting on gigs since, I don't know, 90s, I would have thought.
And playing as well, yeah.
And he used to play in a band called Sweet Teas. and I've never actually met him. We were friends on Facebook, and I can't remember who had to do, but we were friends on Facebook, and I saw a post from Raz saying, I'm looking for somebody with a bit of business acumen and that knows the way around a profit and loss chart and understands finance to become company secretary. Well, being retired and not doing a lot, it was middle of pandemic, I think. I kind of sent him a message saying, I'm kind of up for this. This is kind of what I've done in the past, kind of thing. He asked me to send a CV, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I ain't wrote a CV since I was 19. So I had to send him this quite lengthy email saying, I've done this, I've done that, and it was horrible talking about me. I said, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, I sent him this email saying, this is what I've done, and he'd just come straight back and went, we'd love you on board, kind of thing. So
it's good though, because a music CV, it's not the same as you're not having to go, well, I am punctual and I work well as part of the team.
Yeah. So I just sent him some information, and I started working on their accounts really, and just kind of crunching numbers and trying to understand how they got to where they got, because they'd done an event in 2019, ready to do number 2 in 2020 before the dreaded pandemic came, and I think I started early 2021, I think, from memory. I don't know. It's all a blur. I'm not going to lie. I've had a drink since then, so I can't remember. I think it was early 2021, and I started just looking after the accounts and doing the quarterly VAT returns and starting to pull together a profit and loss chart and cash flow charts and seeing where we needed to be, and got involved with that, and then got involved with pretty much anything and everything to do with the event. So I look after traders, I look after sponsors, I look after the bar people. I don't know. I do quite a lot, and I see quite a lot of bands. So I'll suggest to Raz who we maybe need to be looking at, who I've seen, who people are talking about, because I do get out and about quite a lot. So
yeah, I always see on Facebook you're always checking a different band out. You travelled in somewhere to see something.
That's what I do. I've got tons of time on my hands, so it's kind of like me. I guess it's my hobby. I guess just.
Yeah, you have become the busiest retired person I've ever met.
I'm busier than I ever were. Honestly, I'm so busy. It's unbelievable. We have. So it started as Call of the Wild. That's what I got took on for, and then quickly after that, Raz was like, "We want to create this business called Upstaged, and I want to bring Rockmantic into it, so that we all run it as a business. That all 4 of us, as 4 directors, as Dave." It started by Raz and Dave, and then Lee quickly came on board before the 2019 event, and then I joined as a director in 2021. And Raz wanted to bring in Rockmantic and to do more of them, so we finished up doing one in Blackpool, and then just recently one in Grimsby. And then Raz was like, I really want to put a show on at Sheffield at Co-op. So I said, when are you thinking? He said, December. I went, it's probably not good, that, because the gender do Winter Rocks then. I'll speak to Muttley if you want. So I rang Muttley and said, are you still doing Winter Rocks? And he went, nah, can't be arsed. We've got this other one. We've got Road Rage, is it? I think they do Road Rage. Him and his missus do that. That keeps us occupied. And I think they'd lost the booker, Stuart, who used to book for them.
Yeah, no, Stuart. He promoted one of my first shows there, actually.
So he said, no, it's just too much hassle. But you can run it if you want. Why don't you run it, your event as Winter Rock? So we're like, would you mind? He went, no, definitely. Let's bring it back. You promote it, we'll stage it, and let's do it. So within about 3 short months, we've got Rockmantic, Call of the Wild, and Winter Rocks, and then we started doing Trailblazer events, which are like a showcase for up-and-coming bands to come and spend day with us, basically, and show us what they've got in a 30-minute set, in a very short set. And generally do it with 10 bands, so it's kind of like a bit of camaraderie between 10 bands and a bit of networking, share some gigs with each other, but come and stay and let's get to know each other and kind of thing. and then the ones that we like, and as punters like that. As punters, we're lucky that punters come to a lot of us events, not just Call a While. They'll travel and see us at other events. They kind of have a bit of an input to us and kind of say, well, they were great, we'd love to see them. So it's like a stepping stone, I guess, to us other events that smaller bands can come and play, and then if they impress, then they're moving on to Call a Wild or Rockmantic or Winter Rocks. And that's kind of how we work these days.
It's like a bit more of a modern day showcase, then, isn't it?
It is a showcase. I won't like to call it a Battle of the Bands competition because they're all picked because they're great anyway. It's just kind of getting a feel for what, as punters like, which ones stand out. Weaning out those that are dicks, because sometimes bands are dicks and we don't want dicks around, that kind of thing.
More often than not, to be fair.
Yeah. So, them that just turn up and then bugger off, they're probably not going to get on very well with us because, we're all about being in it together kind of thing. Come and stay, and to the point that we actually, we didn't tell them a running order, we just basically picked it out the hat. So it's kind of like, you've got to be here at 2 o'clock and you've got to be prepared to stay here till 11 o'clock. That's the deal, and we'll pick them out the hat and just, cheer each other band on kind of thing. And it works because it creates a really good atmosphere. It's like you've got 10 bands there all day and kind of like cheering each other on, and then maybe 50 or 60 are our punters plus crew and all that kind of thing. It makes for a good day kind of thing.
No, it sounds well put together, well planned. It's kind of making me think of like early shows when I was like 16 years old, when you have like 4 original bands turning up, and no one's any good, no one's got any good gear. People not dressing like they're in a band, and then you tend to have like maybe the headline band who are slightly better, but they've got no fans, and then all the other bands have brought their mums and dads and friends, and by the time the headline band comes on, everyone else has gone home, and they're just playing to their girlfriends, and it's just mad, and it still happens today, and I don't understand why people think no one's clicked on and gone, this doesn't work, maybe we should do it a different way, and that, I like that take on it, the way that you've described it.
Well, Battle of the Bands competition just basically turns into how many people you can bring kind of thing, how many fans you can bring. We try not to do that. I mean, we try and encourage them that, and we give them an individual ticket link so that we can track how many tickets they've actually sold. So we can say, look, what a promoter's looking for from any band is selling tickets. There's a ticket link. Use your own genuine ticket link. The discounted tickets, you should be pushing that on your socials to your fans. See what you can bring, and you watch and see how hard some bands work, and you see which bands are working more than others. And some are more genuinely, we want to play, we want to do our best and work really hard for it. Others, they might do a share or two every now and again kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's picking out all them and going, they were good lads. They were good lads all the way around. They worked hard for it. They played a great show. They deserve a chance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because likability is definitely part of the equation. It's not just, are they a great band? It's kind of like, are they likeable as well? I think it's always important, me personally.
Yeah, on and off stage. I've done that when I've booked bands for things before. Sometimes it's like they may not be the best out of, say, 10 that's come forward for something, but because they were a good band, but they may have been a better band, but they're just nice people, nice to be around, helpful. I've chatted about this on previous episodes with a few people about that kind of gig etiquette type of thing and how you should be, and there's a lot of people that they just seem oblivious to it, that they just think, well, I can just turn up and kind of kick up a fuss. Everyone wants to act like Axl Rose because they think that's it. Cool.
I mean, it's a learning curve, isn't it? I mean, there's some young bands out there and they don't know that etiquette. They don't understand, the etiquette when you might eventually get a tour supporter that you kind of, what you've got to do, you wait for a headliner to set the merch up and you ask if you can have this little desk here to set your merch up on, and you're polite. I've had bands, when I've been on tour, support bands, that have just obliterated what I've set up for a headline band, and they've come in and they've got 3 people behind merch desk and they've covered up all your merch, and you come back, what's going on here? What are you doing? I'm selling his merch. Oh, you're not. No, not like this, you're not.
I'm
Well,
laughing.
why not?
I'm laughing because I've seen it.
Well, why not? She's mum at bass player and he's dad. It's like, I don't care. You can't do that. It's not right.
I'll get manager, me dad.
Get who you want. I did have one girl getting really stroppy with me. I think it were at Robin 2. I think it was when I was with Tyketto. And I eventually she was so obnoxious to me. She was just really obnoxious. And I'm a placid guy 99.9% of the time. But if somebody pushes me over that edge, then I just become a shouty. And she took me to that edge and I went, do you want your band to play tonight? And she went, what? I said, do you know who I am? She went, no. I went, the tour manager. Move your gear or your band aren't playing. I just really lost my temper. I had to walk away. I can remember Danny Vaughan looking at me going, you all right, John? I've never seen you like that before.
I've never seen you be like that, ever.
Yeah,
Although
it don't happen very often. But she managed to definitely take me over the edge. I was polite. You can't do this. You can't do it. What are you doing? One person only. Really nice. She was just obnoxious to me. So it's like, I'll pull the ultimate card.
Yeah. You've got to do it sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to do it as well because you feel like you're being a bit of a dick doing it, and you're just like, oh, but no, the people need to know that they can't do these things, and I'm capable of making it all stop for them.
There's a table there. Yeah, but that's tuning at stage and nobody can see it. It's like, I don't care. That's where you go. You go there. It's all set up for you. Not all over our stuff with 3 people behind merch desk. Yeah, that was a funny one. Yeah.
I've turned up before when we've done like a little headline tour, and then we'll have a tour support come with us, which we always end up being friends with them and end up in group chats with them afterwards, where we share memes that you probably shouldn't post on in public domain, and then I can't remember where we turned up. Every venue would put a local support on, and this band set up all their equipment on the stage before the two other bands, us and the main support, had come along, and we got there, and they were like, "Hello, what are you doing?" "Oh, we're just setting up for tonight." "Right, well, we need to set our stuff up first, and you're gonna use some of our back line, and obviously then anything else you can set up in front." But I think they must have been quite new to it, but
yeah,
I mean, we were pretty.
You don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
we were pretty.
Unless you've got somebody to teach you, or somebody to say, "Well, just take a."
We were nice about it. I
think
think if they would have given us attitude, then but I think they were oblivious to the fact that that's how it worked. So everywhere, but yeah, it's just sometimes you do get people who are not quite as naive and just doing it because, like we say, they just want to be a rock star. But it's weird. Like that kind of time, I think, especially in like your 60s up to maybe early 90s. You know, is it that cool to be a pain in the arse anymore? Really? Because most people I know aren't, and
no, most people
they don't like
these
it.
days are all right, just all right. You know, you're not suffering many fools these days, to be fair. Just every now and again, you just get one that just wants to sneak an extra beer out of somebody else's rider and go backstage and go. And you see him come out with it like that. Don't do that, mate. Just don't do that.
Yeah, we're very like for us in FAHRAN, it's like everyone's like so kind of clean cut, and they've done it enough times. I mean, we've been together with this lineup for 10 years, right? This year, yeah. And I mean, that's the longest I've ever been in a band, and I just think, you know, if you've not grasped how it works in that time as a unit, you may as well stop. And thankfully, everyone's pretty good. I mean, I can remember us turning up somewhere even early on when we'd been together, and a guy from another band had said, "Oh, and you guys got a light?" And we were all looking around. No. No one in your band smokes. No. Oh, you don't do this, do you? No. And we're like, no. And we kind of have this like rule of maybe 1 or 2 beers maximum if they're going on stage. No one goes on stage drunk and stuff like that. But then I've been on tours with guys. I'm not going to name them, but they came from Sweden. Great band, great fun. literally through the entire week and a half, whatever it were, there were just substances everywhere, drinks all over the place all day before they'd even gone on stage. I don't think half of them even remembered what they were that they'd played. I mean, they played, they didn't miss any notes and stuff like that. So obviously well practiced. But I thought I couldn't do that. One, because I just physically couldn't do it, and two, I don't think my conscience would allow me to do it because the risk of it being a bad show, especially if like a promoter's booked you or you're a pain to the audience or whoever it is that's around you. You know, it's like I get louder after like every drink as well. I go up a couple of decibels every yeah. You've seen it and heard it, yeah. Especially the IPAs that we have because they've got a bit of a bite, haven't they? So, but yeah, I just can't bring myself to do it, and in a way I kind of applaud people that have got the balls to do it, and in other ways I just think, oh, you're stupid, because you're probably going to just ruin an opportunity with something. And I've done it before with things years and years ago, now a lot younger, and I'd have a drink and you try and like make a joke with people or stuff like that, and it offends them, but you don't think that it's offended them. They were sober, they've been playing a show, and you think it's something funny, but if they don't know you very well, they're just going to take it as, well, that random guy from that band's just been a right knob to me.
On that note.
Yeah, you're all right. John's brought his own drinks, so I did have some things on offer, but he'd got a couple of...
Man prepared.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, that's it. That's the festival organiser in you, isn't it? You've got to be prepared for, just in case there isn't beer somewhere that you go.
Take me on rider.
So it's not just kind of led to you being the company secretary, then now being involved in the festival and then doing some promotions. I've seen that you've started doing more tour managing again, and then you're looking after another gentleman as well who's got his own band, Tom Killner.
So yeah, so recently I worked with Tyketto again. I actually were working with the support band, a band called This House We Built. I got offered the work with Tyketto, but it clashed with Winter Rocks, so I kind of declined it, and they found somebody else, kind of thing. And then This House We Built, who've done a couple of shows with Upstaged, great band from North Yorkshire. They
the posh part.
Got offered the tour support, yeah. And I kind of went to them and said, do you need any help? I know all the crew, and I know the band. I know what it's like to be tour support. I'm happy to help in any way, whether it be merch, load in, load out, drum tech, whatever. I'll do anything to help out so that you can do, because I think it's really important when they're doing such an high profile show, that you can do the best show as musicians that you can and put on the best show that you can, and let somebody else worry about the stuff around fringes. So they said, yeah, come along. So I kind of went along by proxy, I guess, but I knew everybody there that were on the crew for Tyketto, know all the guys in Tyketto, so it was a good, big, happy family kind of thing, and I just, I went every night and still did Winter Rocks in between, so I think I did, started in Bradford, then Nuneaton, and then I had to skip Grimsby because we'd got Winter Rocks Friday, Saturday, then went to Blackpool on Sunday. So it was just quite a short run. I didn't do the festival dates that they've got, just left them to that. And then the Tyketto wanted to hire my drum kit, so I went, set up the drum kit on the first day and helped out with drum teching, I guess, set up on the first, or for all the shows really, and then packed down kind of thing. And then packed it away at, not Yardbirds, Blackpool, and brought it home. So that's what that stint were. It weren't necessarily tour management, it was just being helpful because I can kind of thing, and just
a little bit of a social thing as well.
Just, a bit of a social thing. And then I recently started managing a band called Tom Killner, who was named after the guy that's the front man, Tom. Tom, I met randomly, really. I met him at one of my parties. So, Call of the Wild.
One of your small gatherings.
One of those small gatherings. It were a small gathering, this one, because it You remember when we had the pandemic and then Boris come out with this roadmap
Oh yeah.
to get us out of the pandemic, and it was going to be 2 months of this, and then a month of this, and then 2 weeks of this, and then 2 weeks of this.
Yeah, we're a little bit,
and then we're clear.
A bit sketchy along the way.
Call of the Wild happened to be, I think it was 10 days after that phase 4. So phase 1's this, 2, 3 and 4. We're like, well, it'll be all right, be all right. Boris says it's going to be all right. So should have never trusted that twat.
We'll put all his trust into him.
So when we got to that last phase, he decided we were going to extend it for another 2 weeks, which meant us eventually cancelling Call of the Wild, which we did very, very reluctantly, and we fought really hard. There's a thing called the SAG group, the Safety Advisory Group, that it's basically a collection of fire and police, ambulance, NHS, all the environmental health, people from council, noise, all that kind of thing. Anything that could be a nuisance to anybody within the local authority, there's somebody there. And we had a video call, and because he'd extended this period, it was still no gatherings of more than X. Although they'd done Ascot and they'd done all that kind of Wembley football and all that kind of thing. No more gatherings. So we're like, they said, how are you going to serve 1,000 people? So I said, it's all right, we've thought that through. We've got 200 trestle tables with benches, all your number on. We've got an app. We'll serve them. And they went, how many people are you going to need to serve that? And it's like, it's not your concern. We will have enough people to serve them. Well, what if you get somebody that starts standing and shouting and calling odds because you can't shout? Well, we'll let security deal with it. How are you going to stop people in camping, mixing in more than groups of 6 in different motorhomes or different tents? Well, we'll tell them not to. What if they start clapping and shouting? We'll turn it off. Literally, we had an answer for everything, but they were making it very, very clear.
See,
they didn't
a
want
lot
us
of these
to do
people
it.
could do these things in the street anyway,
Yeah.
you know, so it's
So they made it very, very clear that they didn't want us to do it, and basically pushed licensing laws in front of us and said, if you do it, you will probably lose your license. We're not telling you, we're an advisory group, so we're not a yes or no. We advise. We're advising you not to do it. So we had to come to this crunch decision that we're going to have to cancel yet again. I think it was 4th cancellation. So I knew this cancellation were coming. Back to Tom, getting back to Tom, how I met Tom. I knew this cancellation were coming. It's like I'm going to get such a lot of disappointed people that know that Call of the Wild's been cancelled. There's going to be tons of people that's going to be free that weekend. I think I'll have a party. So I started arranging this party very short notice. It's like 3 weeks away. We're going to cancel it, and the festival would have been 3 weeks away. I'm going to arrange a party. I can have 30 people in my garden. I'll have a garden party. I'll invite 30 of my mates. They can come in the motorhome. I've got a bit of a yard space. They can all stop in there. They can't stay in the house. We can't party in the house. No more than 6 in the house. What am I going to do? What if it rains? So I hired a great big inflatable pub, like a bouncy castle, but it turned into a pub. It was huge. It was massive. Filled all my garden. Literally filled it all. And invited 30 mates, and then realised I'd got more than 30 mates that wanted to come. So I turned it into a 2-night affair, and had different guests on different nights. So I had some on Friday night, and then I got a nucleus, I think about 12, that did both nights, and then
just pressure wash the inflatable pub in between.
And then the next lot come in, right, you can come in. And I had this party, and then I was kind of like, well, maybe I could do a bit of entertainment. I've got a pub, might as well put some entertainment on. So I finished up trying to look for a...
Yeah, I wanted to come because I think I was going to come and...
Yeah,
I was unfortunately doing things I didn't want to do that weekend.
I think I went... I messaged this guy, Tom Killner, and it said he'd done a few cover versions in his set. He does Creedence and he does a bit of Joe Cocker. He does something else. But he's an out-and-out kind of singer-songwriter, original Americana, bluesy, countrified, southern rock, I guess.
Yeah, I checked him out actually after you first started mentioning him. Yeah.
So I kind of messaged this guy on Facebook saying, don't fancy doing like a garden party for 30 people. And no, it's not my kind of thing, mate. I'm kind of original stuff. Is like this bloke from Oilands messaging me, asking me to play his garden party. That must be the worst thing I can imagine. You can imagine. So I said, oh.
It's usually because they're expecting, like, well, it's this guy and his mum and dad and his gran and Auntie so-and-so's there, and they're all looking there going, oh, well, he's not Tom Jones, is he?
Play it one way now. Yeah. So I said, well, just, I don't know, mate. If you can't do it, you can't do it. And then 10 minutes later, he went, what are you looking for, like? So I said, well, just like 45 minutes of covers, just to entertain my people. They're all festival goers. They all like music. They're like, the music lovers will be fine. So I went, no, I'm not bothered. And half an hour later, come back, went, go on then. Yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, I'll come with my drummer and I'll just jam it acoustic kind of thing, and I'll bring my drummer to back me up a little bit. So he did, and he absolutely blew everybody away. To be fair, he's got a voice somewhere between Joe Cocker and Foggett from Creedence. It's just kind of like, he's just got one of them really authentic kind of voices. Kid can play, kid can write songs. It's like, oh God, this guy's amazing. And I can remember looking over at Raz, who were invited, and he were at the other side of this tent the tent pub thing. And I looked at him and kind of went, we finished up then booking him for Call the Wild the next year.
God, imagine if he'd not come to the garden party as well.
Yeah. So if that had not happened, what would haves, what ifs, all that kind of thing. So we finished booking him for Call the Wild, and I used to go and watch him then. Thereafter, I used to go and watch a few gigs around Sheffield, watch him play kind of thing, and we obviously just stayed in touch. And I just thought they were a great band. I mean, I like anything that's got a bluesy edge. I like that.
It seems to have a bit of it's got bluesiness, it's got rock, but there's like hints of country in it as well.
Yeah, there's hints of country. There's definitely a smacking face of southern rock with some of it, and then some of it's real Americana kind of thing. Just a real mixture of stuff, but he's got that voice that works all the way across. And I used to go and watch him, and I was thinking, God, he's a good kid, him. He's really good. I like him. And I went to watch him. So he played Call the Wild. I think he played quite early on. I think it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or maybe a bit earlier. And he didn't have no backdrop, just come on, and he just played 45 minutes of pure southern rock. Bit of like, I guess a light relief to everything, because everything's generally a lot heavier kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had so many people coming up to me going, who was that guy that were on earlier? Even people that were in camp were like, oh, that guy woke us up great this morning. He was brilliant. Who were he? Kind of thing. So I kind of like thinking, all these guys like him. It's really weird, we're not a heavy metal festival. But there's a lot of punk, there's a lot of heavy, there's a lot of hard rock. And then you got a kind of guy that's playing that kind of thing right in the middle of them people, and it's working, and people are coming up and going, he's great, really great.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's like, that I recall seeing like footage of Woodstock, and they had like Beck on in the middle of a load of metal and new metal and grunge bands and things like that. Just died a death, unfortunately. But sometimes you can put something random in the middle of it, and it just works, and it's a breath of fresh air for people.
So we've used them a couple of times since. We put him on Winter Rocks last year in a little room, and he just got the place bouncing, just foot tapping, head nodding kind of thing, just straight from off, and really quite loud. And then he's done the same again this year, to be fair. But we're a much quieter affair this year, just quite a few clashes and stuff made it quieter, and I guess money's a bit more scarce for people, but it were a bit quieter affair. But he just did exactly the same. We were kind of like in between a band called Mosquito. We're probably Radio 1 tartlets, that kind of sound, definitely fitted into that Radio 1 new kind of category. And then a punk band after that, a bouncy punk band, and we sandwiched Tom in the middle of that. It just worked.
Yeah.
Oh, he's just because to show he is just very likable. And he came to me and said, "Do you think you could help me out?" And I went, "Well, I don't know. I'm not an outright band manager. I managed my band a long time ago, but I'm out of touch kind of thing. I don't know. Let me think about it." And I went, "I'm sure you could help."
It sounds
So
like you're
kind
returning the treatment he gave you.
Yeah. So it kind of evolved into, go on then, I will. Yeah, go on then, yeah, we will, yeah. And we're just building a bit of momentum and sort of taking some drudgery. Again, taking drudgery off at artists so that artists can concentrate on being creative and doing what they do best, which is playing.
I think that's every artist's dream, isn't it,
Yeah.
really? Because even like our band, you know, we're like very self-contained, DIY, and sometimes we all just kind of think it'd be nice to just shove that away to a company or someone or whatever, but then there's the fear that it's not going to get done the way that you want it to, so it's a double-edged sword.
So we worked a deal out and just kind of said, all right, I'll do it on a best endeavours basis. I'll see what I can do for you, and then I've just been my tenacious self again and got them some festivals for next year and started getting them a few gigs and working on a strategy and booked a few shows for next year on lead up to Call the Wild. They're playing Call the Wild again. They've had a 2-year break, so they're playing this year. Next year. Oh, excuse me. Beer. And then we just come back from Spain. We had 8 shows in 8 days in Spain, which were fun.
Yeah, I saw, because we were going to do this before, anyway, but we've left it till just before Crimbo, because you've been jet setting again.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah. Was it
international playboy?
Yeah. Did it feel hard work, or was it quite enjoyable?
It was nothing but fun. All the way, there's literally no egos within the band. We all got on. We all laughed. We just had a good laugh from start to finish. We were good. Once we got there, I think there was a bit of intensity about getting there, because it was basically from Rotherham right down to the south coast of Spain to Estepona.
Is that where the band's based then?
Yeah, from Rotherham, yeah.
Ah.
So we set off from Rotherham at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 42 hours later at 9 o'clock. Almost 2 days later, we finished up in Estepona. And we literally stopped wheels for about 3 hours. That's all we did. 2 drivers just swapping. Like keeping. Are you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Are you all right?
I've done that to Germany before. It's awful.
It was good. It was great. Once we got there, then it was a lot easier. But particularly the first couple of shows was like a couple of hours. There were no. And country, just incredible. Spain, just its countryside, just awesome. Just everything about it were great. People were great. The crowds were great. Not always massive, but those that were there were really like super appreciative and jumping up and down. They're not like us Brits. They go out for music.
Yeah.
Not like us. We go out for drink and the music's kind of secondary.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, because I've done a festival in Spain before, and the way and in Germany, and the way that they behave compared to a typical Brit audience, where we'll just stand there and we've got a drink in his hand and we just go, right, come on then, get on with it. And if they don't drink, they just sit there with their arms folded. Yeah. Whereas they just seem a little bit more up for it in other parts of Europe. And
so we did 8 shows, 90 minutes a day, plus an encore, straight. He managed to lose his voice on the last show.
Yeah.
But they were super supportive. It was just like, I've lost my voice, can't sing. But I'm going to try and get through this set, and they were just great. They were just really supportive. And
there's nothing worse though as a singer.
As you think of a read, think, oh God, they're going to absolutely go away and say it was shit.
You're going to get some no-name writing a review for a magazine that nobody reads, and slagging him off. But
I don't think so. No, I've not actually checked for any reviews, to be fair.
No, you won't get that in Spain. You get it over here, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good fun. Really good fun. We did get offered another festival there next year, but I think we're probably going to skip it to year after. Because we've got another opportunity come as a way for that. It's going to clash, so yet to be announced. So we've got that to look forward to. And yeah, my main goal really is to get a suitable tour support. That's my next ultimate goal that will try and project into, I want to get them seen. I want to see them. They've played quite a lot in the blues scene, which is fine, but it's a completely different demographic. And knowing that a rock crowd loves them, as equally, I think, with a country crowd, it's trying to get them into them other demographics as well. So it's kind of broad brush in the same way that
they could do with like a support to Blackstone Cherry or something like that.
Yeah, but like Blackberry Smoke. I mean, Blackberry Smoke, you know, kind of when you think that they can play a rock gig or a country gig or a blues gig or probably even a folk festival and get away with it, you know, and that's how I think of Tom. To be fair, I think that he would work in every kind of environment. He's got something for everybody.
Yeah, you're not putting a thrash band on
No.
somewhere where it's not welcome.
And I think that's my ultimate goal, to try and get him the correct tour support. Probably not Blackberry Smoke, probably a little bit lower down the thing, but I guess my ultimate would be, right now, Robert John on the record be my ultimate if I could just go, that's what I want you to play with.
Maybe
but
like
there's various
Dirty
others,
Honey
there's
and stuff
others
like
out there.
that. I think, because they're quite rocky, but they've got like a bit of a country blues feel.
Yeah, they've got a country soul-y blues kind of edge.
They're like a bit of everything, I suppose.
Yeah,
again,
same
yeah.
thing
So
again,
it works.
It just works. It appeals to a broad brush.
It's definitely an audience for it. It's, these
the
these
country
bands
thing's
keep
getting massive. I mean,
yeah, these
and
bands
it's a
keep
young
jumping.
crowd as well, isn't it now?
Yeah. No, me and Liv love a bit of country. We listen to all sorts of stuff, and we jam it sometimes, harmonies together and things like that.
I think everybody loves it. I think they just always kind of
they love to pretend they don't. Though.
Just either pretend they don't or just completely disregard it. But I can guarantee you put you put country rock Spotify list on, or you'll get anybody hooked within 3 songs. Guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, it's like, for me, it's like I actively seek out new music. Libby doesn't like really to bother looking for new music very often, unless something just slaps her in the face. I once showed her like a Luke Bryan record, which is not that rocky, but it's country, and she loved it, and now she listens to it all the time. But she doesn't mind listening to when you put Spotify on, and you put like country or country rock, whatever, as a just a bit of a playlist, and leave it. You don't know what's coming. She always says, "I can listen to this. We'll lay on sun lounges in Garden on that one weekend when it's summer, and just say like she says, oh, I feel like I know the songs."
There's that familiarity, isn't there? There's a storytelling element of always about a country music song.
Yeah.
That sucks you into that. That's what grabs you. It's the storytelling element that will always grab anybody with a country song.
Oh, definitely. And it's weird how it can take you suddenly from being sad to being happy. My stuff's I write stuff too dark to be a country singer, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I do love it.
You can do it.
I've never wrote a happy song ever in my life. I've never written a happy song. I don't know why. I just, like, because you don't. I don't know about you. Like when you were in Silverjet and stuff, and you guys putting songs together, you don't. Some people kind of go, "Well, we're going to write a song about this." I don't know anybody that really does that. Or like they just have a moment where they go, "I'm just going to write a song," and whatever's coming out is coming out. And or sometimes like because there's a song for every kind of feeling, isn't there? And it's like if you're not finding the right song to listen to that kind of covers what you're feeling, you tend to just write something to suit it. So which is what I tend to do. But even though it's just weird.
Sometimes I think some people are different. I think some people are very lyric based and are definitely listening to lyrics.
Yeah.
I can say that categorically. I don't always listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm listening to what it feels like, whether it's getting me up or not.
Yeah.
So it might be the riff, or it might be the bass line, or it might be the rhythm section. Just that it might be that'll get me up.
Yeah.
And it might be a really, really sad song vocally. Yeah. Like lyrically. But it'll still get me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got a song on our new album that's coming out next year. Shameless plug. And it's that's got a song on there where the lyrics are incredibly sad, written by Chris, our guitarist. But the chorus is so bright and uplifting that unless you're actually listening to it, you wouldn't recognise it as a sad song. So yeah, I do get what you mean. Some people they just go for whatever that hooky melody is and how it feels, because pieces of music completely instrumental can make your hair stand on end. In my case, on my arms, it's not gonna. But yeah, I do know what you mean. You can completely fool people almost, really. You know, how happy or sad it is. But yeah. So what's his plans then coming up for 2024? Obviously, you see you've got some stuff kind of in the pipeline you can't talk about yet, but
we've got some stuff coming in the pipeline to announce, which will be next year. We've got album coming out, which will be album 4, which is on a Kickstarter, which probably by the time you put it out will probably finish, so can't ask anybody to contribute. But we've got a Kickstarter going out, which is, we're over 50% now, so hopefully we'll get to where we want to be, which will help us fund it. That'll be out yet to be announced, but it'll be early spring. There'll be an album launch show and a single launch show to go with that, and there'll be a bunch of headline dates which will probably be revolved around the bluesy venue or circuit. And then we've got a band called Hush Money, which I've pulled together 5 tour dates. They're an American band that contacted me wanting to basically do what Silverjet did and come across as a vacation and play some shows. So their manager contacted me and asked if I could pull some dates together and get them a UK festival. I was like, well, it just so happens I've got a UK festival. It just so happens I've got a Southern Country rock band and you're pretty Southern Country rock. So let's kind of work together. And I was like, well, it'll work if I put Tom on. So we're doing a co-header with them. There's 5 dates. And they're rock venues. And then we have got something which will happen in... is it June or July? I can't remember. We've got yet to be announced. That'll be announced in January. We've got quite a couple of festivals coming up. So we've already announced SOS, which I think you'll have probably played before.
Yeah,
SOS.
Yeah, we did it last year as well.
Did you? At Whittles?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. I only made it to the Sunday.
The new Whittles.
Yeah, I came to the Sunday. We were in Tenerife. Not Tenerife. I don't know. Where were I? One of them other islands. I don't know. I can't even remember. So me and Leslie were there, and we came back on the early hours of Sunday morning, got up and went to SOS Festival on the Sunday. So
it was. I can't remember. It was either Friday or Saturday. We played inside, but I liked it because they'd got like an outdoor stage, which were freezing and raining. Unfortunately, for some of the bands that were there, I can't remember what. Oh my God, there were a band on that they sounded like Alice in Chains. They were on after us when we were kind of like loading some of our gear out of the way. I'll have to check what the poster was to find out because it's going to wind me up. But they sounded great, and the singer had got like such a strong kind of voice as well. Not particularly like high, just consistent power throughout, and it was great. But they always put on good events. I mean, I think they've been quite unlucky in terms of venues. They've had to keep moving because either venues shut down or different rules.
It's a great venue. I've worked there before with a band called Twister. We did a show there, I don't know, last year it would have been, spring last year. So yeah, it's a great venue. So we've got SOS, we've got Rock Witch, we've got another one to be announced, which will be September. We're doing Call a Wild, we're doing Rockmantic. We've got a couple of blues festivals. So we're doing York Blues Festival, doing HRH Blues, and we'll be filling that week then with blues. Like I said, April will be blues venues, and then we're looking forward to then November, booking some more shows for November, and just we've got a strategy. That strategy is almost thinking now into 2025.
Yeah,
this is what you have to do. You have to have a.
This is what I've talked to the guys about it. Where we've got like music video shoots kind of in place, and already I'm talking about other things that's way past it, and other videos way past that, and it's because if you don't plan it, you're not going to have the availability of everybody. So you've got to just got everything just kind of, even if it's just penciled in, put a placeholder in just so everyone knows that we need to be available for these dates or these music videos or whatever shoots and things like that. But yeah, if you don't plan it, it's just nothing materialises, does it? So
always have a plan. That's my life. Everything, always have a plan. You've got to have a plan.
I think that was one of the first things you said to me when we went for that beer, actually. We were talking, because we just talked about everything, didn't we?
Yeah. I think it was some advice. I can't remember who gave me that. I think it were in business. I think it were the guys that actually bought my business. I think that said kind of like, you always got to have a plan. You kind of got to look so far in front and have a plan, not just in business but in life. And it was just one of them things that struck a chord. And it's like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's definitely.
So when
and I use that quite a lot to people. Like, have you got a plan? Like, I don't know. Some people just mumble on in life, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people they don't seem to have like any particular goal for anything other than just existing, really. Just being happy with the, go to work, do what they do, go out, have some holidays, see the family, and which is obviously all great stuff.
And repeat.
And then they're happy with that.
Whereas that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But it would drive me insane because I feel like there's other things that I've got to do or achieve. But yeah, it's no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the dog rather than the family anyway. So
yeah. I can't say that on. Sorry, Sabian. Can't say that on camera. I'd have been much happy with a dog, Sabian.
Yeah. So I've seen now your son's got a bit of a show going on now as well.
He's got a podcast, yeah.
Yeah.
The Sabo Show.
Yeah. Let's do some plugging.
He's got an eclectic mix of tasting music, so it's a bit of buzz of all sorts, and then he picks up the festivals that are local festivals, is whether it be ours or Rock Witch or SOS, and he'll pick them up and what bands are playing, and so yeah, he's kind of entrenched into music scene as well, kind of the local grassroots music scene, I guess. And then he does bigger festivals like Download, and he'll do Leeds and various bits like that. But yeah, he's just, I guess, being around music, he just fall in love with music, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's brought up on music. It's kind of
definitely.
So yeah, he's got a great podcast, and I think he's gearing up for another couple of releases when he's not kind of. He doesn't tie himself down to a fixed schedule. It's kind of like, I feel like doing one. I'm going to do one, kind of thing. So I think he's got one coming up soon, probably in New Year. But yeah, he loves that. And he loves doing a bit of home recording as well. He'll particularly covers. He does a lot of covers. Sort of does his own twist on covers and releases them. Yeah. So
is that singing then and stuff like
singing
that?
And playing. He does all the singing arrangement, playing, so he can play bass. He can arrange drums, he can play keys, can play a wee bit of guitar.
See, I had a bit of a... I don't know, I kind of felt like he... Because I've not seen him do any of these things, but I felt like he had some kind of musical background. But
yeah, well,
but he doesn't seem to like shout about it when he's talking to everybody.
No. When I had my old house in Wombwell, it had got like this coach house that were like... finished up using as a music room, I guess, a bit like this. And there were literally everything. There were a full back line, so there were drums, guitars, bass.
You're going to have a go on
it,
aren't you?
And I bought him keys for Christmas. I can't remember what year it would have been, and he just took to keys. Like, literally, all of a sudden, he was doing music at school. He was doing like a BTEC at school and wanted to go on and do music at college, which he eventually did. But there were always music there, and I just used to say, go and play wherever you want. And I can remember him buying this keyboard, and then like 3 weeks later, he could play piano. So everything he's done is self-taught. He's never been taught anything. And then he said, "I fancy bass, Dad." So I said, "Well, there's a bass there, there's an amp there," and he's a massive Duran Duran fan. And he said, "I think I'm going to learn Rio." And I went, "You're setting your sights a bit high, mate. You don't think, John Taylor?" I literally come back 2 hours later. He's upstairs playing John Taylor's bass line on bass. I was like, how'd you do that? Where did that come from? And it come from nowhere, and he's a pretty talented bugger, I guess.
It's weird because they tell people, you keep practicing hard and things like that, but there's just some people they just pick it up like that.
He's just understated with it as well. I mean, he just does it. It's what he does. All of a sudden, everybody goes, "Where did that come from?" It's like, well, just what I do.
See, if you'd got like, say if we were at one of your parties and you'd got like a jam session going on, and he just got up and started doing all that, I'd be like,
who knew?
How? When? When were you going to tell us? Because he never seems to mention it. Maybe you should tout yourself out a little bit more.
We went to Rambling Man, and I guess he's most proficient at piano, I guess. And they got I can't remember. I think it was in VIP area. They got this bit like yours, a grand piano kind of, just sat there for anybody to jam against. And I'm like, I'll have a go on that. But he did it when he was too drunk, and I can remember watching him and I'm like, my fingers didn't work, Dad. Just didn't work. So a bit of an anticlimax for him. But I can't say he's ever played in public. You know what I mean? I think he did. He had to do a college showcase when he were at college, and I can remember him playing bass. But I don't think he's ever played in public. It's kind of his. He's got a bedroom again, similar to this, all set up: keys, bass, guitar, everything there. His Mac, so he can program his drums and all that kind of thing. Synthesizers. It's just a bedroom hobby, I guess.
It's weird as well. There's lots of people I see on the internet. They've never played live, but they could be an amazing guitar player or whatever it may be that they've chosen, and they've got no interest in going out playing live. Or sometimes they want to, but they might be a bit shy about it. Some people get a bit of stage fright. I've known guys who played, in bands for years and then suddenly just developed stage fright and then not played for a while. It's a little bit unpredictable, I guess.
I just used to have a unwanted desire to want a Wii. Just like, oh God, where's this come from? I don't really want one, but it's making me go for a Wii. That's all I ever used to get just before stage time. Just go to the toilet. You don't need one. I know.
Yeah, we do. We always, me and Libby always talk about the precautionary piss. You don't need to go, but you're just gonna go.
Yeah.
Every time we do one of those rock set tribute shows, she's like, I best go now before I put this cat suit on that she'll not get off.
Yeah, I'll have to come and see one of them. I've not managed to catch one yet.
Oh,
I've seen the videos at Birdwell.
Yeah,
look good.
Back out in January. Where's the nearest to here? Home Firth Picturedrome, February.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can't remember the date, but I feel like it's the beginning of February. But yeah, we'd got a nice little run from third week in January after me and Libby come back off holiday. So we're like, cool, we're gonna be all refreshed because we're just doing so many gigs and other musical activities throughout December. And we were supposed to play Butlins Minehead for one of their, I think it's called Bootleg Ball or something like that,
Right,
and it's like 30 tribute bands on. Well, they've had to cancel all the events in January due to some previous flooding. Right. So to turn it around, they need to, because I think it's a lot of the accommodation, so they've had to kind of close all I think there's 3 weekends worth of events on, and they're expecting something like 7,000 people on site throughout the weekend as well. So I imagine they're going to lose quite a lot of money as well. Yeah. So we've been told we're going to get probably rescheduled, rebooked when there's another one. So, but it would have been nice because I've never actually done Butlins Minehead before. I mean, no. I've heard that back in the day we're a little bit naff and a bit cheesy, but apparently it's amazing now. So
I don't know if I've been to that one. I think I probably will have.
It was a good mix of stuff because there was everything from Sabbath tributes up to Chili Peppers, Beatles.
Do you ever do the HRH ones at the campsites? The FAHRAN?
At the campsites?
Like Prestatyn or...
Oh, yeah, the Wales. Yeah, we've done that with FAHRAN. To be fair, as time's gone on, because they booked, I don't know why, but they booked us for the AOR one. But we did go down well, but we were a little bit softer then. But as time's gone on, we've got a bit heavier. I know they've got a metal one, but it feels like it's more kind of Metallica style bands where we're not quite that. We're a bit of a weird one because we're not a classic rock band, but we're not really heavy enough to be a proper metal band. So we're somewhere in between. So we get placed in weird places for bizarre festivals sometimes, but I think festival organisers and promoters don't always know what to do with us.
I think I've only ever seen you at that Grimsby gig.
Might have done, yeah. That was a lot softer as well. In fact, I
just remember the hair, lots and lots and lots of hair.
Just not from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Them all being like Muppets. It was almost as if they were being
And the Grimsby stage at that time, because it was more of a corner stage.
A triangle, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they got it was quite a low ceiling, and most of the guys, except for me and the drummer, they're all about "You're right." And when they're swinging their hair, it'd stick to the like kind of tiles that they got on the ceiling. But yeah, no, it's all a little bit different now. But I'll show you a couple of tracks when we finish this anyway,
Sweet.
just to show you the difference in it. But yeah, it's we wouldn't get booked for an AOR kind of thing with that anyway. But
You never know with HRH.
yeah, it's
I'm not quite sure they know the difference sometimes.
they've got there's just so many of them, isn't there? Now I'm kind of losing tracks. I know there's like a blues one. There's like a metal one. I know, I've seen that. Is it called Sleaze? There's a Sleaze one.
Sheffield, yeah.
That one seems to get like really good attendances and stuff. And you know, there's always like a lot of happy bands playing that and stuff like that. And but I suppose there's not a lot of events around that's devoting themselves to just Sleaze, and
No.
it's still quite a. I mean, it's not in the mainstream, but it's still quite a popular kind of style of music. Same with the.
I think a lot of them are social events more than as much as anything as social event, repeat custom. A lot of the same people go in.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you see that with a lot of kind of punk events and stuff as well. It's like people go out and they'll watch the same punk band 10 times a year on a bill of 3 to 4 bands, and but they're there and they're having an absolute skinful. And every, like, whether it be a festival organizer or a venue owner, they tell me the punks can drink, you know, and some of them they'll have like an all day session with like 10 punk bands on, and like you say, they're having a good time. They're there and they're supporting the bands, but sometimes some of the people aren't there particularly for the bands. They just want that kind of going on because it gives them that vibe. Because they love that kind of high energy music. Get some drinks down you and catch up with your friends.
That's it.
Which is a nice thing, because obviously when you know yourself, when you're doing the things that we do, you tend to meet a lot of people who they don't really live in your town and stuff like that. That's why I was quite shocked when I was like, oh my God, there's another guy that lives in Barnsley. Everybody's like miles away.
Yeah.
It's just nice to kind of get together every now and then. But that's what festivals are all about, isn't it, really? So
It is, yeah. Yeah, that's like that. You just feel like I don't know, almost family. And I know they go to other events by other promoters, but it does always feel pretty special when we pull people together, because they travel, you know, they're not just... If we do a show in Sheffield, they're not from Sheffield, it's people travelling to get to us, same in Bradford or Blackpool or wherever it is, they are travelling for the sake of the show, knowing that we put on a reasonable bill, a mixture of music that's going to last all day, and they're going to just enjoy it. They're going to see the mates. They'll probably go for a few beers and a few cocktails before on the way to the venue, and just good crack.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it, from when, like, if you're going to a festival for a weekend compared to having to. I mean, I'll happily travel to, you know, I'll go to places like Birmingham and Nottingham to go and watch bands in, whether it's an arena or whatever it might be and things. But when you're traveling, you're happy to travel a further distance when you know you're spending a good amount of time, a good weekend. It's not a quick. Well, we've drove there for 6 hours. We've watched 2 or 3 bands over the course of 2 to 4 hours, and then you've got to drive all the way back, or you stay in a hotel and then go home and have to have that drive day after. Festival thing, it's like it's worth it all because you're spending, you know, X amount of days with all your mates, and like you say, it's not just watching a bit of a show. You keep dipping in, watching bands at whatever stages it is, whether there's an acoustic tent or there might be a comedian on or whatever it might be, and then you get to just sit around and just get drunk with your mates and eat some overpriced hot dogs or whatever it is.
Beyond the Nether. How Not to Live with a Mental Illness. The debut non-fiction novel from Matt Black. Available on Amazon.
Ricky the Rockstar, a music-related story for children written by Matt Black. A book that teaches kids about the importance of friendship. Available now on Amazon.
Right, so I wanted to ask you, because obviously I know that you love your Americana stuff, your country rock, and obviously a lot of this 80s stuff that we all listen to, and we're all part of these kind of scenes. Oh, you need your microphone back over. There we go. You're okay.
Hello.
It was shoving it to the side. We're all right. What do you listen to when you're at home on your own? What type of music have you got a good mix and stuff?
And I say recently, it's probably in the last 2 years, I set up my vinyl back in my lounge. It's just such a waste for it not to be used. So separate amp, separate CD, vinyl deck, great big Serwin Vega speakers. It's like, it's not. I need to do that. But my vinyl were all at my ex-work, ready for me to pick up in storage. I got like a lock-up area where I could store stuff. So I finished up going out to vinyl shops and buying loads and loads of vinyl. Predominantly, it became a lot of 70s stuff, sort of Creedence, Clearwater Revival, ZZ Top, bit of Skinhead, bit of Blackfoot, all sorts of generally 70s stuff. Boston. Oh man, Boston was the first thing I ever bought when I was a kid. From, you'll not remember it, you're a young generation, half a generation in it. It was like Casa Disco in Barnsley. I don't know if you remember that. Peel Square. Oh,
No.
Definitely.
I know the area already.
Definitely showing my age now, then, mate. And I can remember buying Boston, first album I ever bought to myself, with my own money. It's the one with the guitar on front, the original first album.
I listened to that in full this summer for the first time in years, and I was just like,
fresh.
It's amazing.
Its second album's great. I can't remember the name of it because my memory recall's rubbish with stuff like this these days. I can't remember song names. I can't remember album titles. I struggle to remember my girlfriend's name at times. Really struggle with it.
As long as you just call her Love and rather than somebody else's name.
But yeah, them first two albums by Boston, just incredible. So a lot of that kind of stuff. Deep Purple and stuff like Black Sabbath. I always saw as dad rock. You know what I mean? It's like I think I skipped like half a generation of music by just not having mates when I were at school that were into that kind of music, or a brother or an elder brother or family that were kind of into all the backpatch stuff, I guess, like all the patches that you see on cut-offs and that kind of thing. I missed all that. I just kind of completely skipped me by. First bit of rock music I really, really got into was at college, because at college I kind of got into I went into U2 when I was 15, 16, U2, Simple Minds. That's what I liked. Yeah,
my mum were she still is a massive U2 fan, and she got me into that type of stuff. So when I was really, really young, I used to think that was like, this is rock music. Yeah. It's like, oh, actually, it's not really. And even Bono says himself, we're just like a very loud folk band, really.
And then at college, moved on to, I don't know, kind of indie-ish, and then a bit gothic-y stuff. Anything, really. That kind of ilk. And the first time I really got into rock music was when the Cult brought out Electric. That was it. That blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. So I've got the Cult to thank for that.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to then explore rock music and all the cock rock and all that kind of stuff.
There's so many avenues.
Always bluesy stuff. I always loved Choir Boys. I always loved Dogs D'Amour, kind of that bluesy, kind of sleazy-ish. Cinderella, another band. Just them's the kind of bands that I think are Hanoi Rocks, punky, bluesy, sleazy. But yeah, generally listening these days, my vinyl collection is generally 70s based, pretty much.
What do you listen to? Anything kind of outside within those boxes? Then
I've got some newly recorded stuff. So I've got quite a bit of Inglorious stuff. I really like. I got into his album. I can't remember what the name of Nathan's album was. Inglorious recently. I don't know, but I really got into that. I really like production on it, so I bought that on vinyl. So yeah, it can be anything and everything, but generally speaking, I don't know. It just seems to like vinyl just makes me good retro and play retro stuff to be.
Yeah, you've got to, because you like that little crackle at the beginning as well. Yeah.
There's this one I'm bought going to jump kind of thing.
Yeah, I started kind of getting a little bit oh God, a few years before the world paused. But, I think there's a few in here, and then there's quite a few up in the attic at the minute, and then I've got my dad left me his Status Quo records, bless him. And it's all like the original stuff from when he was a teenager, listening for the first time, you know, and so it's like it's nice to listen to anyway, just because I'm brought up on that stuff, so I love Quo, but it's like it's got that kind of special feel to it for that as well. So I'm kind of assessing this room, trying to find a little area to put a record player in somewhere. And I'm having I've shuffled it, managed to shuffle it around so I can still record music stuff, and the baby grand piano still fits in here, and then I can still have podcast guests, and I don't think you're too uncomfortable, so it seems to work. But I think if I do a little bit more shuffling, I could definitely get some vinyl in here.
Slade, I love Slade.
I love Slade.
Oh,
big style. There's so many great songs that
Slade
people
in
just
Flame
don't even know about.
Well, the first cassette that my dad bought me from Woolworths at Woolwell, and I used to play that non-stop to death. So that kind of, I don't know, you put something like that on and you just instantly transform back into your first bedroom. You can remember furniture, you can remember the smell, you can remember decor, you just remember everything. Something about vinyl. And it's a different listening experience, completely different, because you just put it on and you leave it. These days, anybody that puts an album on, generally on Spotify,
skip.
You've only got to look at any album's plays, and you can see that first 3-4 tracks of the album have got more plays than the rest of the album. People just bored or change or skip with vinyl. You can't. You put it on, you listen to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff right now, like in circulation, especially in mainstream, that it doesn't feel like it's got any kind of substance to it, and it's just kind of churned out because it's trendy, and that's not because we haven't got talented people. You know, even like your pop artists and stuff like that. You've got your likes Charlie Puth, who's got like perfect pitch. He can seem to create music out of anything, and his mind works in ways that he hears something or he sees something and it makes him think of a song idea, rather than just people just sat there all day programming things and copy and pasted into a computer and not really actually caring much about what it is, and they just go on Chat GPT to get the lyrics and just go, there we go, and it's not authentic.
No.
And there's a lot of people that just listen to that type of stuff because they just want a beat, something a bit hooky. They can dance to it in clubs for 4 to 6 months. It gets forgot about, and then another one comes in that's basically the same thing. And I think sometimes there's it's not just pop music that does that, because obviously they're the easy target because there's so much of it. But even your rock bands, I feel like there's rock bands that still do that now, and they talk about taking drugs and partying all night, but they don't, because you know, they work at Greg's in daytime and stuff like that. It doesn't feel authentic, and I think I find it hard sometimes because I do listen to lyrics. That's the thing, so I find it hard if I listen to lyrical content and it's talking about living in a time that you've not lived in, and you probably know yourself when you are talking about when you're playing LA Strip, it probably wasn't how you imagined it from watching things about the 80s, because everybody I know, I mean, I've never been to LA, but there's a lot of people that say that it's nothing like that now, and that kind of glam and rock type of scene and metal scene isn't that present compared to how it was in the 80s. Obviously, bands still turn up and play there and have good shows, but it kind of dominated that whole area at the time. But yeah, I'm all for just some honest writing, you know. I can go from listening to some really angry, thrashy, brutal stuff where people are screaming their heads off, and then the next minute I'm listening to Damien Rice plucking away on an acoustic guitar, singing so softly about some girlfriend he broke up with 20 years ago or something like that. But if it feels right and it's authentic, I can invest myself in it. But yeah, I think there's so many great albums, like you say, from 70s, obviously, and other throughout different generations. They've just been captured on vinyl, and when they press them back then as well, you feel like it's different from when there's a reissue. You know, you're listening to the original one. It's something that because you're aware of when this was from.
In some ways, it's a discovery. I mean, my mate Nige, he brought me some of his vinyl. He went, "You might as well have that. I ain't got out to play it on. It's been sat in the loft. You might as well have it." And it was mainly Black Sabbath and a Deep Purple Stormbringer album. And I'd never heard any tracks on that album at all. And I was absolutely blown away. Like, this is insane. How come I've never heard this? And it's almost like new music there. It's like a discovery. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah.
How did I miss this kind of thing? And I think that's just a great feeling, that when you kind of like, oh, this is insane. And it makes you then want to dig more kind of thing.
See, because I was born in '86, so there's a lot of kind of post-metal grunge bands and stuff going on when I was growing up. Obviously, all your usual commercial chart stuff was just rammed down your neck growing up as a teenager for me. So it's like I could probably tell you all the words to bloody S Club 7 songs because they were on in circulation constantly, even if I didn't want to hear it and stuff like that. But it's weird how I rebelled so much against all those types of like manufactured pop groups because I was like, no, it's not a proper band and they've not worked for it. They're all just failed models that have been shoved together by someone that's
True story.
yeah. And then as I've got older and I've listened back to it, I'm like, well, you know, most of them didn't write the songs. Some of them had some involvement and things like that. And I'm like, well, actually, the songs are all right. Certain songs are all right. And I think I did myself a disservice, actually, by just kind of rejecting it all straight away because there's actually a few decent songs that had gone around that everybody loved and there's a reason for it. You know, I used to think to myself, oh, no, I'm not listening to Take That and all that because all girls listen to Take That. And then as I got older, I'm like, well, Back for Good's actually quite a well-written song, actually. Yeah, there's some brilliant songs in there, and I didn't realise how much like Robbie Williams had wrote a lot of his own songs with Guy Chambers, and you know, just coming up with the melodies for stuff and things like that. You kind of push them aside.
Mellowing with age.
Yeah, definitely. But then I also listen to heavier stuff now than I've ever listened to because when I was really, really young, I wouldn't listen to your likes of Slipknot or anything similar to that because it didn't do anything for me at the time. As I've got older, I think again maybe there's the mellowing with age, but then there's becoming a grumpy old man at the same time, and things it just scratches that itch. I'm like, oh, I'm just angry at traffic today, and I'm going to listen to someone scream his guts out.
Best band I've seen of late that. When new to me, I know friends that like them, not many friends that like them, and I'd seen glimpses of them, sort of, and I loved the artwork that I'd seen, and I did a play, and I'm like, it's all right, kind of thing. Green Lung, I don't know if you've heard of them. But
Green Lung,
Green Lung, yeah, Lung. Almost Sabbath-y in places, almost kind of like theatrical Queen back 70s as well, and. You can hear a bit of Dio in terms of his voice, Ronnie James Dio.
Which is always a good
really
thing.
Kind of, like, really brought up to date, really quite modern. Insane. Sold out at Corporation, 600 people there. I knew 3 people there. It's like, where did all these people come from? Where did this band come from that 600 people are coming to see him? And I don't know any of them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's... Because obviously, we all kind of think that like that rock and metal community is all as one. It's not really because there's like other sections where you can go to something a bit heavier. I mean, it's maybe just that little bit too heavy, so it's a couple of levels beyond what all the regular people on the scene that we know would listen to. And then when you find yourself there, you are just surrounded by complete strangers.
And then another band that blows my mind, the Struts. They completely blow my mind. They're like. Their demographic is like 18-year-old kids through to like mine, you know, 50, 60, 56-year-old people. It's like, that just blows my mind. That's just insane that you can get that cross. And again, you go and you kind of like, I don't know anybody there. Where do all these people come from?
It's weird because he's got that kind of Steven Tyler charisma about him.
Oh, there's the pompous about it.
But like when you look at Aerosmith, they've got literally fans from people in their 80s and 90s to little kids, and for some whatever, I mean, obviously because it's great music and a great show, and And again, I feel like it's just honest lyrics as well. You know, it's people can relate to stuff, but it's if the Struts have got something about them that's a little bit like that, and it just covers everything. We said before, like we were talking about with the Rock Set tribute. It's surprising how many people turn up to that who are people that are either maybe some groups of men and women who don't really go to gigs, but we like that because we listen to it on Smooth FM, or we used to listen to that in college on vinyl and stuff, and then they'll go, we're coming out to watch, but then you've got complete metalheads turning up. They go, well, they're actually my guilty pleasure, you know, it's just great songs, and you've got everything all mixed together in between. There's some bands just kind of cover all bases. Yeah, I'm slightly jealous of them all, to be fair.
How to get that formula, I don't know.
But yeah, I'm gonna say it's for me, like when I'm like do my things with FAHRAN, it's like we're talking about. I don't know really when people say what type of music are you, I just kind of go, well, we're rock music. Oh, we like I like rock music. I like Bryan Adams and Queen, and then they listen to it and they look nervously. Oh yeah. This is it's a bit
I like rock. Yeah, put on a festival. Oh dear, what kind of rock festival? Oh, I like Meatloaf. Like,
so you don't know how to describe it. And if you say that you're metal, and then you've got people going, well, this is a bit tame. Actually, it's not metal enough for me. But it's weird because I like so many different styles of music, and I keep thinking maybe I should just spend a bit of time doing something that's covers those other styles, really, because I just love it all. I could sit with my piano or my acoustic guitar and do the most chilled stuff to whether, you know, it can be nice ambient or some country stuff, some blues stuff, or I could go really heavy and things. And there's not enough time to do it all. Yeah. There's a few guys out there, isn't there? They'll just take on so many different projects. I was talking about this with Dale about like your likes of Jeff Scott Soto. You know, he's part of so many different projects. So that you've got like slightly heavier ones, and then the ones that are a bit more AOR melodic rock and things like that. And I think it doesn't hurt if, you know, everybody within those groups is happy to just let it be. Let's knock an album out, do a quick tour, a few festivals, and then we all get on with everything else that we do throughout the year. And I'd quite like that, to be fair, because you'd never get bored of doing the same thing. It's like as much as I've been brought up on Status Quo and I absolutely love him, I think, God, they tour for like 8 to 10 months of the year, and it's been going like 60 years or something now, and it's like...
Just an acoustic tour, aren't they? I think...
It's Francis Rossi's doing a tunes and chat tour. He plays an acoustic guitar, and he's got I think the guy's called Andy.
Andy Brooks.
Yeah,
I've met him.
And they play through the stuff, but then and some lesser played songs in the main set, and he'll talk about tour stories.
I think Andy posted the full schedule. Oh, that's not going on tour. That's been institutionalised. That's like months and months and months of just not being in your own bed.
So hard though, Francis Rossi. Yeah. People kind of poke fun at him for years, but I've never really seen people that work that hard. If he's not touring with Quo, which is most of the year, he's then in the studio, and then he's doing this acoustic thing as well now.
Yeah, I know Andy. Andy is in a band called the Middle Night Men. Played our festival, and he's a producer, I think. I've only met him once, a couple of times actually. Lovely
I feel like I'm connected with him on Facebook. It's like
on Facebook,
you sometimes kind of, like you say, how like the situation with you and Raz, it's like you just become connected with people, and sometimes you don't really realise how or why. But yeah, it is a smaller kind of community than we think, really, because everyone seems to know everyone else in some way, or they've come across different people. But yeah, I would love to be as you know, that kind of giving it that kind of approach that like your Jeff Scott Soto's got. I don't think I could do what Francis Rossi does, not in the sense of the fact that physically I don't think I could. I mean, he's in his 70s now, and I'm 37. I don't think I could do what he does, travelling and touring and stuff like that. I don't know how he does it at all. I know he has a kind of strict regime, and it's like there's no silliness after shows and things like that, and they have like scheduled naps and meals and this and that and all sorts of stuff, which I mean, that suits me down to the ground, really.
I have scheduled naps, mate.
Yeah. Or sometimes unscheduled naps, they just appear. But I think it's just doing the same thing over and over again for like all year. I've got too many different styles and interests that I would just love to just get into. It's like when I do the solo shows now, I'll randomly put in musical theatre songs or just some random style that I've never done before or something like that, just because I like it. It's not because I'm good at it. Is being in bands and drumming, is that done for you then, or is that something you would ever revisit?
I've got no desire to want to be in a band. Being in a band's like having 4 wives. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's just horrible. You can never, ever please anybody. And when I went on tour with Tom to Spain, which were absolutely great, I was kind of like, do you know what? I forgot about all this waiting for hours. It's like, God, it does my head in. So, no, I can't think of it worse, really, than going back in a band and being with 4 people that you're really just trying to appease. Recording and rehearsing and travelling, waiting, travelling. It's like, no, I've got better things to do in my time that are much more fun than that. I missed that 45 minutes on stage. I missed that completely. Yeah. But it's not... I don't miss it enough to want to do all that, what I see as drudgery.
Yeah. People think it's, when they see the show, they think it's great. Oh, you're doing that, and that's brilliant. Or all those people like that, and whatever it may be. It's like people are getting X amount of money, X amount of attention, and stuff like that. Whatever it is that they're involved in, but then they don't realise how hard it is. With
Loading
the things
at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
2-hour travel.
Eating £6 triangle sandwiches at service stations while it's raining sideways into your face in early hours at morning, and
just, no, I can't, honestly.
There's an extra 90 minutes on your drive.
I can't think of it worse. No, I can't. I can't think of it worse.
Yeah. It's weird because I hate the travelling part, but I've still got something in me right now that makes me just want to keep doing the live shows. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. It must be just some kind of little fire in the belly or whatever we want to call it, but there's some people have got it, some people haven't, and it says... There's people out there that've got a far bigger desire to be on the road for longer than I would want to be.
I fell out with music for quite a bit, to be fair. I was just like, nah. Perhaps because I were in a different relationship at the time, but I completely fell out with music. It's like I never listened to music, never played it, never went to watch it, stopped going to gigs for a long time. For a long, long time. It were only, I guess, when I had that relationship breakdown that it were kind of like, just reborn again, and I just started going back to gigs because it's like, well, I kind of gotta get back on the horse, I guess, and just kind of do what I used to do and do what I used to know. And people used to think I was new on the scene. It's like, where have you been? It's like, oh, right.
It's weird.
Long story.
I did notice and it was an upward journey for you, but I did notice from when we went on that first beer, and we talked about all sorts of stuff and life and past relationships and bands and all sorts of things, and just your general kind of attitude towards life. I noticed a difference when, as probably like a year later, you'd got a bit more of a spring in your step.
Honestly, I'm a completely different person to what I was.
Yeah.
I guess when you played my 50th, didn't you? I guess then that was kind of that was the beginning of the new John. I guess kind of like fuck this shit. I'm just gonna live my best life and just do as much as I can. You're not here for long. You don't know how long you're gonna be here for. Let's just have a freaking ball. Yeah. And I genuinely have had a ball.
Yeah. Well, even like after your birthday party, then I could just kept seeing John's checked into so-and-so airport to watch this band and this band. And then you've just gone, well, I were going home, but I've decided to fly to so-and-so and follow band to this place. But why not? If you put yourself in a position to do that, then why not?
I feel very fortunate that I am in a position to do that, and I'm very spontaneous. I don't.
You didn't just randomly find a pot of gold, though, to be able to
No,
do
no.
that. You've worked
No,
for
I
it,
didn't.
haven't you? So
No, it was hard earned. But yeah, it still feels like a privilege that I can do what I can do every single day. Just do whatever I want. I say it quite a lot. Do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, and it's kind of like it's one of my things. I say that a hell of a lot. That's what I'm going to do, and I do. And sometimes it's just pretty random. People go, "Do you fancy doing that?" Yes, I do. Yes. I can remember we were in me and Leslie were in Ibiza, and we were sat poolside and we were sat with friends. I'm like, "Oh, hey, John, I'm thinking, such and such, she can't come anymore. We've got now a spare bedroom in our apartment. We're going to a Barcelona Fest in July. Do you fancy coming?" And I just went, "Yes, I do." And Leslie kind of went, "You could do this," gasp. All her hair took her out. She went, I went, "What's the matter?" She went, I've got work and everything. So I said, "Well, sort it out. If you can sort it out, you can come. If you can't, I'm going on my own."
Yeah, I'll see you there. Yeah.
Sort it out. If you want to sort it out, you can come. Definitely. And I'll definitely make really quick decisions like that. I got a similar offer back end of COVID. Somebody messaged me and said, "Don't suppose you fancy going to Monsters of Rock cruise, do you? It was literally 2 weeks away. Bit of a family situation kind of thing. Do you fancy it?" And I said, "Just give me a ring." So he rang me and I went, this is kind of plan like, da 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 da. "What do you reckon?" So I said, "Well, it's not a no. Definitely not a no." I said, "Just give me 24 hours to mull it over. I reckon I'm in." And I can remember speaking to Leslie later that night. She went, "Just do it. You've got to go. It's like a lifetime." And I went, "Yeah, I think I will." Yeah, so I were looking at flights and everything that night. And I woke up next morning and I just got this dread come over me. Like, I don't know if I want to go. I kind of got a bit... I've never, ever felt so twitchy before. Well, I don't want to go. I don't know why, I don't want to go. And I couldn't get my head around it. So I spoke to one of my confidants and I said to her, "I can't get my head around this. I kind of like... Last night I'm all guns blazing. I'm definitely going to Monsters of Rock cruise. This morning I woke up and I've kind of got this dread that I shouldn't be doing it." So she said, "You got to go with your gut. Just go with your gut. Whatever your gut's telling you, you got to go with that. You'll thank yourself for it in the long run. If that's what you're thinking, then you shouldn't go. And remember, you can solve this problem." "Oh, God, what does that mean?" I said, "That's really cryptic. What does that mean?" "What do you mean?" "Well, you can do everything you want to do." No, that's really messing with my brain. So I finished up. I messaged my mate and said, "Look, I've had second thoughts. What if I get COVID on run up or there on way back? I've got 3 or 4 events before then that I promised my family and Leslie that I'm going to do, Sabine and Leslie. I really don't want to go say to them, and everybody else will hunker down, but I don't want to hunker down. I've promised my family that we're going to these events. So I want to go to these events. I might catch it there, and then I might be shafted for going Monster of Rock cruise. So I'm going to politely just say, "No, I'm not. It's not for me this time." But fair enough, mate. That's fine. I get it. This thing's still about kind of thing. And we went to a show in Stoke. I think it were Cannock, and we went to see a mate's band. And this guy that I was supposed to be going with, he kind of distanced himself right at the back. He's like, "I'm not going to mingle with folk. I too much of a risk kind of thing." And then he messaged me the day after saying, "You're not going to believe it. I've got COVID. Sent me a thing." I'm like, "Oh, mate, that's gutting. Like a week to go." And he's got to have these air tests and all that kind of thing to fit to fly, I think they were called.
Yeah.
Anyway, it finished up. He messaged me on Sunday, flying on Tuesday. "I've been for my fit to fly. I've passed." And I went, "Brilliant. I've just done my COVID test and I've failed." Oh. So it's kind of like there's a fate in there that they just weren't meant to be. I've just failed my COVID test and I'd felt rough all week and I kept saying, "I'm sure I've got it." And I tested myself 3 or 4 times, nothing. Tested myself literally at the same time as this guy got his fit to fly and I'd failed me I'd failed my COVID. It's like it was meant to be. I shouldn't have gone. And I can remember messaging my friends that said kind of like, you can figure this all out. She went, you can go any time that you want. You've got that capability to be able to go any time you want. Just because it's there in front of you, don't mean you've got to go. Kind of.
Yeah, just go when it suits you.
Which is usually my tactics. It's like, nah, I've got to go.
Yeah.
So it weren't meant to be that one. But
God, I've seen through obviously one of the things I do actually miss about the lockdowns, because obviously now you've been let out to play, so you're busy. But I used to enjoy seeing your short clips or pictures of quite interesting cocktails. There'd be like a cigar on the side, some vinyl playing, and then you'd create something or make like an old fashioned or
yeah.
Do you still get the chance to?
The pandemic were another bit of me becoming me, I guess, and just being stupid on Facebook for quite a lot of the time. Pretty much doing cocktails and discovering cigars and building shit in garden and like everybody else did. But I don't know. COVID was a time for me where there were a lot of people that were really, affected by it and like mentally affected by it. Mm. And I just kept posting stupid shit, and I just got so many messages from people saying, "You're just making me laugh. Just keep whatever you're doing, just keep doing it." So I just kept doing it, and I did quite enjoy it. And cocktails, I've loved cocktails for a long time. I used to love going to a nice cocktail bar or a hotel bar or holiday bar and sitting and watching people really make cocktails, not freaking Weatherspoons put some sugary shit and fucking cheap vodka in a jug. There you go, and it's 4 straws, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, daiquiri on a pump. Ugh.
So I like watching that, and I got a bit of an interest in that, so I kind of just started making cocktails, and I did them on the time-lapse thing, which were quite funny watching them back. I had such a laugh doing it, just laughing to myself.
You look like a Benny Hill
show. I was
show.
literally on my own. I didn't see my mum or my son for months, and I lived on my own. And I just kind of kept it. I guess it was sanity, but going a little bit mad as well. Just did, and that's where Silly Johnny evolved from. Just being stupid online, and just doing daftest of things, either it be in garden or cocktails or.
Yeah, you ended up getting like really busy at one point. I saw you were like. You'd done some kind of like, was it like a decking planter area or something, and then you'd built a sauna and a spa.
Yeah, I did all that.
So you've built all that. So is that, because I know you were toying with the idea of like booking it out and stuff. So do you do that?
Yeah, it was intended. So the business plan before COVID struck was I was building a home spa. I'd already got a hot tub. I'd already got a swim spa. And I got a plot of land that I finished up turning into a sauna and a log cabin with toilets and showering facilities. And I got people lined up that were going to do facials and massages and all that kind of thing. I went and did a lot of food training. I used to love cooking. That was the other thing I used to do on Facebook quite a lot. Just lots of cooking. I've got a love for tapas. And doing tapas, and everyone were like, "Oh, that's amazing food. You should do that." And it's like, "Oh yeah, they're kind of something twigged." It's like, this is what I need to do. I've got this lovely home with all this amazing space and all these amazing facilities. So yeah, I kind of applied to the council and got an alcohol license because I thought the USP were going to be I can serve them alcohol. I can serve them cocktails. Mm-hmm. I can serve them premium gin and tonics. I can serve them prosecco and fizz. And I'll probably turn up at door and go, "Holy shit, is that our host?" It's like, "Yeah, that is me." But then I'll do some nice food and serve you some nice drinks, and that was going to be the USP kind of thing. And then COVID came. I got the alcohol license, and then planning messaged me and said, "You'll not get planning permission. You cannot trade." So it kind of kiboshed it. And then, as fate has it, as it always does, I always think there's a bit of fate. In that gap, when I was trying to get planning, I went for outline planning and they knocked it back. And they said, "You will not get planning because of noise and parking," which is nonsense because there's nobody around me. I've got 5 parking spaces. It's nonsense. In that time when I was trying to battle with council, that's the time that I got involved with Raz and that kind of then became my focus. So all that kind of got left behind. So I left with a beautiful garden, with a sauna and a log cabin and a shower outside and everything.
At least you can use it, though.
Well, do you know what? That's kind of where Johnny Fest kind of evolved from. I kind of like, do you know what? I've got this lovely home, and I'll not say it, but the person that I was with before didn't want it. She buggered off and left me. So I like, people should really just enjoy this home. It's a beautiful home. I just want people to come and enjoy it. So that's where that started. It's like, just come and enjoy it. I've got tons of space. Let's just have a good laugh. And that's really where it came from, just a desire to want people to come and see it and enjoy it.
It's good because it gives you that, it's that festival feel, like you said, with your mates, social, but at the same time, you've not got random idiots floating around. No one's
I know
there.
everybody.
Yeah, no one can spoil it, really. Well, hopefully. But yeah, you've not got like random passers-by that's just there causing bother. Yeah, I would.
But yeah, my 50th, I guess, what precursor to it, when Danny Vaughan played, I guess that was my first year of like, well, first half a year of kind of like coming out of this relationship. And I met a lot of new people when I went out to all the, because I started just going to festival HRH, and I went to Hamburg, and I went out with Tyketto. And I met all these new people, and it's like, I want to thank these people for kind of welcoming me with open arms and being nice friends and looking out for me in a period which were really shitty, you know what I mean? So that's why I did my 50th. That's genuinely why I did it. Like, I'm going to bring the people that I met in the last 6 months together for my 50th. And some of them I'd only met once, where it's like, I want you to come to my party. I think about 60 people there when you did my first one.
I was surprised how many, because those people that I knew as well, because I didn't know it was coming. You just said, "Oh, can you and Libby come and just do a set?" And Danny's going to do one, and I think Dale got up as well, didn't he? And,
Dale got up and Jed got up.
I can't remember what he sang. Something by Whitesnake, probably.
Yeah. We're Whitesnake, I think.
Yeah, I were a bit tipsy.
But that's where it started, really. And then, like I said, the cancellation of Call the Wild, I knew it were going to get cancelled. Invited a load of mates round. That's where the first one came from. And then I did it again, not this year, last year. I had Johnny Fest 2 last year. And that was a great one. So there were no restrictions then, obviously. It was just...
Yeah, it's all kind of back to normal now,
brought,
isn't it?
Otis, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're about 50 at that one. I've just done this one, and at the minute, the invite list is 105.
God.
And I think I'm about 15 motorhomes, so I don't know how I'm going to do it right now. But well, I'll figure it out. Motorhome Tetris.
Yeah.
They all need to be good at reversing.
It just makes me think of, when you've got loads of speakers and you just load in a van. There's a way, isn't there, making stuff fit. I mean, I've got a little...
We'll have to use the software that we use for Call the Wild. We've got this software, which is basically like a Google Maps Earth kind of, or a Google Earth.
Right.
And then you can put on scale little pictures.
Oh, is it like gridded and
stuff?
Yeah.
You can put how big's your motor? Fit that on there, that on there. Well, I'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
I always get it. Obviously, it's only if I do a solo gig and I'll turn up with a PA and stuff like that. Sometimes some extra lighting, and I'll do a show, and it's like I go through phases of small midlife crisis car to what I call big old man cars, because I like driving a big armchair that feels like it's got a rocket up its arse. And so at the moment I'm kind of on midlife crisis hairdresser car again. So I'm managing to get everything in the back of an Audi TT, and people question me every time when they watch me come out with the stuff.
How do you get all that in there?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's the same voice as well. And it's just you just learn over time how to just make stuff just fit in random places. We used to take photos in one of my old bands when we had this van, and we'd just basically take photos of it in stages, because we knew that's how we'd get all the PA in, lights here, this is going here, blah blah blah, softer stuff, merch bags and all this stuff, and you just learn to do it, don't you, over time.
Yeah.
You just need to project whatever you've learnt over God knows how many years of travelling around with bands and stuff, and just do it in your garden. It's not like your main part of your garden though, is it, with the motorhomes?
No, there's a plot of land at bottom of the garden.
Yeah, I've not seen that. Is that beyond? That's the beyond the gate then.
It's beyond. Yeah. So I live right on the top of a hill, so it all crowns off, and then it drops off. There's a plot of land below where the lawn is. It's quite big. There's a big shed down there. That's where the bands will be playing, in the big shed.
Mm.
I think we had about 8 motorhomes in last year, which seemed fairly comfortable, but I think I've got a list of double that this year. There's a bit of a pinch point. It narrows, so we'll see.
Everyone's going to be
sidestepping.
in.
Once you're in, that's it.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
No, you're not moving.
Yeah.
See, you might have to have a schedule of arrivals, and I'll figure it out.
I'm just going to park somewhere on the main road, out of the way, push my mirrors in, and just leave it.
We don't worry about the neighbours, they'll be fine.
Just invite them. You'll be all right.
What's worse that can happen?
That's what I used to do. I used to live in the same village that I'm in now, just a bigger house, and that was kind of like, I think it was on like 6 houses on the street. It was like a bit like you actually, the same, like I was like the last house on the left, and it was just like, we're having a big party, right? We're gonna have live music, we're gonna have band all in the living room and everything. Cause it was a much longer living room than what I'd got now, and we just invited everybody on the street. Which wasn't many of them, so it didn't really. It was worth it because we got all friends and stuff.
Just
turning
softening the blow.
Yeah, I think as well, if they've been invited and they choose not to come, they can't complain, because you could choose to do something. If you've been,
Sally. Sally used to be my next door neighbour. You know Sally, don't you?
Yeah. She's doing me like sports massages on my back before when I can't walk.
If Sally were having a party, she'd be like, "Oh, great! Come round whenever you want. Oh, brilliant!"
Yeah, she's moved away now.
She'd never come round, but she messaged me saying, we're all singing they're all singing in October, or they're singing karaoke or singing to DJ. She messaged me about 1 o'clock in the morning saying, "You're all sounding fabulous." Oh, sorry, Sally, shall we turn it down? No, turn it up.
Have you got a new neighbour there now then?
Yeah, I've got a new neighbour, yeah.
What are they like?
Don't see much of him.
Yeah. You might see him then on your next party.
Might do. Oh, who knows?
Are you going to stick a little envelope invite through, or just a warning?
I don't know. We'll see. Oh.
I think that's slightly off camera. This is what I'm getting for the studio. He's got a screaming goat.
That's my safety blanket.
Yeah, I've started kind of like collecting random things. I've been eyeing up so many like memorabilia things on eBay and stuff, and now screaming goat. I didn't even know that they existed, and I saw it on Facebook the other day. I'm having one of those.
Went to TK Maxx Christmas shopping.
Is that where it's from?
I was just in an aisle. And I went, "What's this? Screaming goat?" And I was like, what does it do? And then managed to get it. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm having that. £5."
Really? Oh, I've just had a look on eBay. They're about £10.
Wow. TK Maxx, mate.
TK Maxx. Plug it.
It just makes me laugh so much.
I just love like weird stuff and boys' toys and stuff. That's why I built this place. Really, it's just full of boys' crap.
In fairness, it's when Leslie's driving my van, I just kind of outside, I just kind of go. And she gets the message like, "All right, I was winding him up."
I'd got this service bell, which I refer to as the bullshit bell, but then I've seen that there's a red buzzer you can buy now that says bullshit on it as well. So I think I'm going to have that as well. I'm going to need a bigger desk. But yeah, it's Dale got me this on my first episode, and he was very upset because this bigger ornament was there when he came in, and his little face, we were so disappointed because I'd already got one. And he'd bought me a smaller one. He says it's a travel size one, but yeah, I'm going to start collecting. And God knows what. If you come back here at some point later down the line, you might not be able to see me for crap. So in terms of boys' toys, you're like me in the terms of you love cars.
Yeah,
I love cars. I'm obsessed with cars to the point that I drive Libby insane because I'll see something and start talking about it, and then Libby just looks at me with a blank face and says, know your audience. She ain't got a clue. She don't care. She's not interested. A car is just literally the thing she uses to get to where she needs to be, and she don't care what it looks like or anything or how it drives. What's your let me just ask you first. What's your daily driver? Your sensible. Is that your sensible daily driver?
That's my sensible daily driver.
And what are we talking? Is it 5? What is it?
5 litre V8. Yeah.
5 litre V8. So that's your daily driver. Okay.
To be fair,
actually, you've shocked me there.
In fairness, right, there's a story. In fairness, I changed from a transit, what they call them, custom.
Transit. I loved that van.
It was a lovely van.
They drive like a car.
It's incredible, but I'm like, what the fuck am I driving about in a van for? So I bought a Mustang. I traded it in and bought a Mustang.
Because I know you had, obviously you're talking about like the splitters and motorhomes and stuff, and you've done tours with motorhomes. I know, did you say you got rid of the motorhome now? Because you used to...
I've got a motorhome.
Yeah?
I had a great big American thing, so it was like a Winnebago.
Oh, yeah.
Like, huge thing, massive thing. It was called a toy hauler. That it's got a huge ramp on back that opened up into a massive garage, so you could put your Harleys or your quads or your trikes or whatever you wanted in the back of this motorhome and toy haul to somewhere near a lake or whatever in America. And I spotted this thing on eBay, and I thought that'd make a good tour bus. I could just convert the garage into a bunk room and leave enough room for the back line. So I finished up buying this great big 6.8 litre V10 American motorhome that did about 40 gallon that were converted to LPG that didn't work, and toured UK with it 2 or 3 times with Bonafide.
And this was before petrol prices went up.
It was great fun, don't get me wrong, it was great fun, but it was huge. It was just freaking huge. You could not park it. You were terrible in city centres, it were awful. And we just literally used to pull up outside venues, park up, there you go, unload out gear, chuck it in the venue, come out, go to sleep, wake up next morning, next venue. That's what we did. It was great. But yeah, I eventually got rid of that. I traded that in and got a sensible. What's a sensible? I got a nice family motorhome for doing. But then not for band touring.
Do you still? Is it a Fiat 500 that you
got?
Fiat
500.
Yeah,
tow behind
you
it.
tow that behind.
That's the best fun car I've got.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
You said that to me before.
It's like a go-kart.
You just love it. Yeah.
850cc. Pop, 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 pop. I love it.
How are you for headroom in there then? Because it's quite a small
great.
car, isn't it? You're
honestly,
not the shortest.
Right? You all laugh at me. Everybody laughs at me, right? Like, oh, how do you fit in that? Like your PA. How do you fit in that? Well, I put the seat to the furthest back. I can't touch the pedals. You figure that out in a Fiat 500. I don't know how it works, but
your head's sticking out the back window.
It's a great car. I love it.
God, how old is that now?
What the Fiat 500 or the motorhome?
Well, both actually.
Motorhome's about 4-year-old, 5-year-old, I think.
So you've had the Fiat 500.
Fiat 500's I don't know. What plate is it on? 61, so it's like 12-year-old.
I suppose it's not getting a lot of hammer though, is it? It's just doing the little city runs.
What I realised, I did a lot of travelling in the gaps in COVID in my motorhome. I just did a lot of going to see my friend in Devon, and I went literally everywhere on that sort of South Devon coast, all Brixham, all that area, Torquay. I loved it, but what I realised was when I got there, I was kind of like stuck because I got this great big motorhome that you couldn't get anywhere in Devon. So I realised I needed a bit of a car, so I bought this car to tow behind it, and that were like just a game changer completely. Turn up, jump in this Fiat 500, you can get anywhere.
Yeah, you just ditch your motorhome on the outskirts.
Yeah, so yeah. It was a good move, and it's a great car.
Economical.
I'll not have anything said about my Fiat 500.
No, it's just bizarre because it's when I first saw it. I mean, I've just grown to accept it now. But when I first saw it, I thought, has he got a daughter I don't know about? Is he? Because it usually was a time, wasn't it, where it was just everyone's daughter got bought Fiat 500 by the
Right,
parents.
All right. I like it.
No, I'm not gonna slate any car really unless it's French. Although it is French, isn't it? Actually.
I always have
Oh
silly
no,
cars.
is Fiat Italian or French actually?
French.
Yeah.
Italian? I don't know.
I'm questioning myself now. I think it's
French.
because I had a few Renaults in my younger years and they were awful.
French. I don't know. Might be Italian. Italian, yeah. It has Italian flag on it, doesn't it? Yeah, Italian.
Shall we? Yeah. Although they're not great for electrics, even though there are some beautiful
I
cars.
don't know.
Your Alphas and Maseratis and Ferraris. Yeah, let's have a look. Fiat. Well, makes great podcasting this when Signal's letting me down, but it's not loading.
What's up?
I'm trying to load to see if it's definitely Italian, but I feel like it is now.
think it
I
is
was
Italian,
questioning, yeah. Oh, I'll accept it then. If it's you kind of won me over it with a practical thing.
No, I don't know. I think it's got an Italian flag on that, a Bath one, hasn't it? Maybe it's a Bath that's Italian, not Fiat.
That's like the little. No, it's probably all the same. That's the little trendy, sportier one, isn't it? But I'm guessing that'd be a lot more in insurance and stuff. Or the bigger engines.
All I know is it's amazing.
Yeah.
I reckon you could get your full PA. How do you get that in back of there?
Oh no, definitely not.
I reckon.
The TT's got this just great hatch with quite a long boot, and when you put those, they call them rear seats, but I don't know who for. And when they're down, which they're down pretty much permanently, I can get so much in there. You can put a Marshall cab in there. You can put a half stack and a couple of guitars squeezed into that car. I did used to actually have a Mazda MX-5 Mark 1, and I just liked them just because, I mean, again, they're ones that people like to take the mick out of, but people that like them, they really like them, don't they? They are fun to drive. I just wish they were more powerful, and then I'd probably consider one again, but I used to go to gigs with them, and I can remember turning up to Yorkshire Rock and Bike Show, and I had my Hughes and Kettner Switchblade amp head in the boot, but that would only fit in there if I unscrewed the spare at the space saver and put that in the footwell in the passenger seat, and then I'd got a lead bag on the passenger seat, and then laid on top of that I had to put two guitars wrapped inside thick blankets, because even with gig bags, or you definitely couldn't get cases in, even with gig bags they wouldn't fit. And I managed to do that and then just plug into a cab that were already on the stage and managed to play a 1 hour show at that festival. Tiny little car, minimal gear. I drove very carefully. It's quite hard suspension as well. I became aware of kind of every any raised ironworks in Barnsley. I were very aware. So even
Which
now,
lots.
yeah, and the holes, and I just steer. I still, even now, steer around them because it's a habit, because it would break your back if you went over it in an MX-5. Have you got any plans to change from the Mustang anytime soon?
Not at the minute, no.
I'm not looking to buy.
No. Love it. I mean, I have got other vehicles.
Yeah. Do you still have the Dodge?
I've still got the Dodge.
Yeah. What engine's in that? Because they're
5.7 litre.
Yeah, because they're quite thirsty and it's heavy as well.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. I've got a couple of VWs, so yeah. I've got too many cars.
Yeah.
I've got one for every day of the week, to be fair.
Yeah. Depending on your mood.
It's insane, but it is what it is. I get a bit attached. You shouldn't get attached to metal, but I do get attached to it.
Yeah. I do with some stuff, and then I think after a while, I mean, to be fair, most of the stuff that you've bought, it's all a bit special, so it's quite easy to fall in love with it.
It's all a bit stupid. Yeah.
If it were just like when Libby buys a car, she just thinks, well, I'll just chuck $1,000 at this. I'll get a year or two out of it, and then I'll just buy another one, and she don't care. There's no connection to it at all. I buy stuff that I like it a lot at first, and then I start getting really bored of it, and then things annoy me about it over time, and then I have to change.
To be fair, my truck, I called it Project Colt Sievers. So, Colt Sievers, the Fall Guy, you'll probably not remember that shit.
I know that. I've heard of the Fall Guy.
Like, you remember Airwolf? You must remember Airwolf. You remember Airwolf? Oh,
I feel like I feel like I do. I'm going to sound stupid now. Is it like a helicopter?
Oh, Airwolf was, yeah.
Yeah.
Fall Guy, like all these like classic kind
You
of
uncultured swine.
Dukes of Hazzard, all that. You're like half a generation away, aren't you?
Yeah.
So like Fall Guy were kind of like in the ilk of Dukes of Hazzard, but it were about like same era, but it were about a stuntman, and it were called the series were called the Fall Guy, and he drove a big truck, and he smoked cigars in a hot tub.
So you just want to do that without
Project
the stunts.
Fall Guy. Stage 1, we're getting the pickup truck. I got the pickup truck, and then I got the hot tub, and eventually I got into cigars. I am the Fall Guy.
So it's not been a long term thing then. The love for cigars. When did you start smoking them?
Again in lockdown. It's just like, but I wanted something with girth. Like they had to be a big one, and reasonable length. like every girl needs. But I don't know. I just got this fascination with him. I think it come from Sons of Anarchy. Actually, I never watched television, and then I started watching Sons of Anarchy, and Clay was smoking big fat cigars, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that.
I can remember being 18, going on my first holiday with a girlfriend at the time, and I can remember buying this big fat cigar from one of these like weird cheap shops, probably with the equivalent of about 40 pence at the time. And I was sat on balcony, and I thought, I'm sure this is donkey crap. It was just disgusting. And then over time, I was like, you see him in like, I don't know, it's like it's got this up and down reputation for me, because I'll look at one hand, you think, well, Jimmy Savile likes a cigar.
I knew that were going to come into the equation.
But then you've got like Arnie making it look really cool, and he's got it in his teeth as he's punching the crap out of somebody or push somebody off a building or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's at the time I hear people talking about cigars, they always say like if their parents caught them smoking, so the dad will force them to smoke a cigar, so it makes them feel sick, so that they won't smoke ever again. But then some people just love cigars because of that. Then, so it kind of backfires.
I never smoked. I've never smoked ever in my life. I've never had a cigarette ever. Never appealed whatsoever. But smoking a cigar was different. It's like, yeah, I can do that.
It's weird because it's got this cool look about it. You know, when you're putting pictures on like little smoky cocktails and stuff, and you've got a cigar at the side that's lit in an ashtray, I was like just thinking, that just looks like some kind of cool bar shot from some American film. But it's in Barnsley. But it still looks mint. So I've started kind of finishing podcasts now by asking people what advice they would give to the younger self, because it's quite interesting at times.
What to my younger self?
It can be a number of things if you've got more than one.
Have a plan. Don't take life too fucking seriously. And have a good time fucking doing anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, just have a plan.
Yeah.
I think actually, I always did have a plan. It's really daft, right? But I think it come to fruition. I think I manifested it in some strange way. When I were 14, 15, I idolised my dad. And my dad used to take me to the pub Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. We used to go for a couple of drinks. And he used to teach me the way at world kind of thing. And I can remember as I was getting to sort of 18 and getting ready to go to work, I'd done college and I was getting ready to go to work. He went, "Hey kid, you know what you want to do? You want to do what I did? I retired at 55. If you can, retire at 50. You'll have worked 30 years then. You'll have worked hard for 30 years. See how much you can live after 30 years. I love it. Best thing I've ever done." And it just kind of resonated with me. And I always had this thing, I'm going to finish work when I'm 50. And it's just something I've always said, like I'm going to finish when I'm 50, I'm going to retire when I'm 50. Just from that them conversations with my dad. And I finished up retiring when I was 48, which was a blessing. Fair enough, I'd worked, like my dad said, 30 years nearly in that time. and built up a business that I sold that allowed me to finish. So I think, you know, that plan did come to fruition. Whether I meant it or not, I don't know. But I just think there's always something that you've got to have a plan. You've got to have a vision. It might just come true, and I just think there's a lot of it. That fate, bit of good luck, bit of hard work, bit of fortune. Don't know. Have a plan.
And we love when it comes together.
Yeah. Another
Yes.
cigar.
Oh, yes. At least that's a cool one, though, yeah. I've not heard any stories. But yeah, so thank you very much for being here and
Cheers,
having a
mate.
good
I've
chat
enjoyed
with
it.
me. It's been good to see you again. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again soon. So everybody remember, have a look on the Tom Killner Kickstarter. They've got till the end of December, is it? Or is it
29th of
the
December.
29th of December? Buy yourself some merch, or just... Is there any kind of random experiences that they can...
There's some acoustic experiences, live stage experience if you can find a venue that can do it. There's tons of merchandise, sort of t-shirts, hoodies, truckers. Some really cool artwork by a guy called Martin Bedford, who were a stalwart really at Sheffield blues and rock community. Unfortunately passed away last month. But he has left a legacy of some artwork that he did for one of Tom's tracks on his album. So that's really quite cool. And they're signed by him. And I think there's 30 of them. That's really, really cool piece. Just he left a legacy. He did some great posters for Leadmill. He used to work at Leadmill. I don't know if you've ever seen his work, but that's outstanding. They're a bit of a nice piece. Yeah, and the vinyl, CD, just give what you can. Or even if you can only get £1, you can just do a donation. Just help us try and get across that line, which hopefully we will do.
I'm sure you will. Get on it, everybody. Thank you very much, and have a good Christmas and New Year.
Cheers, Paul.
I'll see you soon.